Hello. All right, Alex, we're in. We're great. So what's up? This is Tyler.
And I'm Alex. And this is Fighting Ignorance.
That was pathetic. If you got anything to say, Alex, go ahead.
I don't. We're fighting ignorance today. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're always going to do.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and we got to talk about the elephant in the room. Yeah, time. This week we're just all over the place.
Later than my last period.
Oof. Alex wanted to sleep yesterday, which was very understandable. He had a little sleeping issue, and then I just slept. I didn't even ask. Alex asked. Alex was nice enough to ask. I just slept. So here we are. It's a midnight special, but we're not gonna name it anything different. This is just we're here finally. Fuck.
The midnight special.
It's pretty awesome. Want to say thanks to you guys that are listening on Spotify, Pandora, Google Podcasts, any of the podcast platforms, and of course, especially on this one, a big thanks to anybody that's listening live. Since we're at 12 o'clock on a Thursday, which is totally just not the schedule, but we appreciate you guys watching us live and listening, of course. So thanks for that. We've gotten a Twitter, and that's like kind of a thing I guess we're gonna do. I think, Alex, what I was kind of thinking is we both have the credentials to get into the Twitter. I don't really post anything on it, like any personal anything. I just kind of retweet some, just random things that are general, just news. I don't know. It's nothing to keep up with, but you can definitely keep up with our live streams and stuff like that with our Twitter.
I'll tell you the only thing I use Twitter for. When I see people tweet things in Facebook and I go, there's no way that real. And then I'll go back to Twitter, find that person's Twitter handle, go back to the day it said it was posted and see if it's on there or not. It's the only thing I use Twitter for.
Right. It's like a good checker. Twitter's pretty nice, to be honest. I like Twitter a lot. There's a sphere of politics in Twitter that I don't know if...
That's why. I get on Twitter for about 15 minutes and I'm scrolling and I want to blow my brains out.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Twitter, any sphere in Twitter that I've learned is kind of cancerous, but I don't know. They eat shit alive over there and they don't really ask questions about it. And it's not a good thing. It's kind of rough. It's kind of like with every facet of like a niche on Twitter, they do that shit. I don't know. But we're over there. If you want to go know when we're going live, you can set notifications to get our tweets, and we will be tweeting whenever we go live. So that'd be a good way to know when we're about to go live. Yeah. Okay. Two housekeeping things. Number one, stickers have been ordered. We have ordered Fighting Ignorance stickers. They're 4 inches square, or I think they're like 4 inches by like 3 and almost 4. Well, we've got some. I think what we're going to do, Alex, and I want to throw this to you too, I think we're going to sell them, okay? And then just kind of maybe throw that back into like buying a bunch of stickers, if that sounds good to you. And I like, there's 10. We get 10. We got like a sample thing. And I don't even know if you're really wanting to sell them or anything, but we're going to have stickers. So we may just end up sending them out. Alex is very in depth with the postal system, so I'm sure he can. I don't know how to like it's almost sad. I don't even before I started doing the Pokemon thing, Alex, I didn't really.
Stickers are so lightweight, so think everything with postal service is about weight. If it's under a pound, or if it's like an ounce or two, throw it in the mail with a stamp on it.
Right.
All right. The go-to is like 8 sheets of paper equals 1 stamp. That's what they say. So like
8 sheets of paper. What that weight equals 1 stamp?
Yeah, generally that's kind of a rule of thumb.
Okay.
And then anything above that, I'll weigh. You know what I mean? If it's more than just paper, just some paper, I'll weigh it. And priority mail, you can always priority mail anything for under $5.
I usually like I'm good at shipping packages because I know you just throw that bitch in there and that's that. What's really cool about the post office too, man, we're about to just already break down right on into it. But what's cool about the post office is you can just say I want to ship this to my friend. I can just take this to the post office and say, "Sir, I'd like to ship this," and then they'll give me a box and hook me up with it. It's pretty cool.
If you want to get really screwed, that's how you go do it.
Oh God, I don't know how your post office
They're gonna
is.
sell you the box.
Hey, you got sharks in your post office? Because that's just sad.
They're gonna sell you the box. I mean, the best thing, I repurpose every box I get, just about. Because I get a lot of boxes, and I try to repurpose them as much as
Right.
possible.
Well, I'm just
Here's
saying
the
for
thing
somebody
a lot of people
that
know. If you're
doesn't
shipping
use it a lot.
anything that's gonna be more than a pound, the flat rate mailers are free. You can order them by the hundreds. I do it all the time because of my comics. I order mailers by the hundreds, and they're free. Don't take advantage of that, because that is where, if they're not making money off of it or they're losing money, they're gonna jump up in price.
Right.
But they're free to order and use. So
It's-
that's the way I go.
It's one of those weird, stupid little things where, like, and you're somebody that has a business, and you're doing a lot of shipping and stuff, so that's understandable. But like, I don't care to pay for the box, I mean that, and I know you don't either, of course. But like, I don't know.
Well, I just do so much volume. If I had to pay, that'd be
Right,
an extra
right.
charge I had to worry about.
No, I mean, you're giving them business by shipping the shit out and paying the handling costs. So I feel like
Here's
that's
another thing people might not know: if you print and ship through PayPal, that's where a lot of people do their business from. You actually get a discount on your USPS. So normally, like a flat rate mailer is about almost $15-16 in store.
what?
Through pay, yeah, that's kind of gone up. It's like at least 14 or 15.
Jesus
I know
Christ.
through PayPal, it's $13.20 to print.
And the flat rate doesn't matter on weight, right? Like literally, it doesn't matter.
It does up to 90 pounds for medium, I
Right.
think. But like, you're gonna be hard. You're gonna have to be shipping lead.
Yeah, hell yeah. Ship me some lead, Alex, please.
But I don't want to spend all day talking about USPS.
Right. Okay. Listen, last thing. I'm not going to talk about that actually, but what I will say is I have applied for us for this website that you can take your designs, like I can take our logo and I can say that I want it on a shirt, and Alex, we have to get together on the shirts because we're weird. We're
picky.
Yeah, dude, that was so funny. I was like, dude, I'm fucking particular about t-shirts, and you were like, me too. And now look, we're not wanting to get into this and buy 70 t-shirts and me have a box of t-shirts over here and me just like be waiting for them to get sold. I don't think that that's efficient on our end, and it could be a cost falter for everybody else. So there's a website that I believe we're going to use called Designed by Humans, and they take care of all that wholesaling, warehousing shit. I really think what happens is if you order something, they print it. The turnaround time on stuff is not as fast as usual, or as fast as it could be. Like if say I were to ship it, but it's great. My friend runs a stream, and he has people do artwork of like an avatar that he's created. It's really actually pretty cool. And I ordered a sticker off of him.
Hell yes.
Yeah, and I mean the art's great. I love it. So I got one and just I put it on my my computer. But
It's for those listening at home. That's definitely an anime girl.
yes, and there are boobies. There is fan service involved. He likes the fan service and the cat girls. He's all about it. Whatever. But it's a really good like I'm versed in printing. Like I was a print tech for like 2 years for a printing company, and these are good. I'm cool with this. I think we should roll with it. So we're gonna get that store set up sometime. So if you guys want to, you can buy stuff. We get very little amount, like a very small amount of like commission or whatever you want to call it.
It's more about just having it available. For
Right.
people.
Hey, that's where I'll be buying shit. I mean, honestly, if I want a t-shirt, then I'll just buy it from ourselves. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Well, I'm a big proponent. A lot of people say, but I really am a big proponent of buying from small businesses.
True.
Small family-owned
Right.
businesses like Goulet Pens. I got 2 of their stickers now because they give a free sticker,
Hell yeah.
and they give like a lollipop,
yeah.
and a nice handwritten note and all this anytime you order something from them. I love
that. I like
family-owned businesses.
I like how they use a different ink than what you've ordered, just so you can kind of see. And like at the end of the note, they'll write the ink and the nib and the pen. So you can kind of be like, damn, dude, that one writes so good. And then you go back to Goulet because they're just the shit. That's the first people. That's who the person that got me into fountain pens told me to order from was Goulet. They're good shit. I feel like I know them. I feel like it was like my great aunt from like the upper New England area that sent me a package with a pen in it. Does that sound?
We have a whole lot to cover tonight. Let's jump.
All right, I'm sorry. Okay, listen. You need to calm down. I see a hunger in your eyes.
I called it out.
That is it for the housekeeping shit. Look out. Like, I think that'll be like next week or something. Maybe we'll hit that up and have that available for everybody.
Goulet pens need to give us ad revenue for that one.
Dude, that would be super cool. I love Goulet pens.
If they would just send me one of their crazy pens, I'd be happy.
Right. And we'll just showcase it and then just like talk about stuff after that. And
shit, why don't like you wrote the people that gave you that fucking chair?
Okay. That I've got covered up now with we're out of contract on it, so I'm good on it. I don't have What about wristbands? It's gonna be bought and bundled. They're inexpensive and neat. I've been thinking about some 3D printing stuff. I don't know, but that's it.
I used to be a big wristband person.
Okay.
Any black wristband makes my little goth heart melt.
Oh. All right. Now, hey, look. If you say you want to get started, you better go right now. What you got?
I've got one. Okay, so elephant in the room. Big news this week. Obviously, Kamala Harris. I think I said her name right. Biden's VP choice.
What about that?
Here's the curveball. I was like, I've got to do my research on Kamala Harris and all this. And I said, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. Because that's what I would normally do. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to look at Pence because I don't know shit about Pence. Let's see what the current VP's been doing. And let's see what VP even fucking does. Because it's a big joke that VP don't do shit. So why are we so worried about who he picks for VP?
Okay.
Let's see what our current VP's done.
All right.
Because I always say I'm centrist, but for some, I feel like I get defensive about the right simply because it's been attacked.
Isn't that so weird? That's how I feel lately too.
I'm not even a Trumpist, but anytime something's said about his organization, I get defensive.
Yep.
Just because I'm so sick of hearing.
Oh.
So
I'm almost on the opposite now. But go ahead, sorry.
So I was like, I'm fighting that shit. I'm fighting my knee-jerk reaction, and I'm gonna look him up. So this is what I've got. So here's first, what does a VP do? And I'm gonna send you stuff through Discord as I'm talking about it. So here is the link for what does a VP do.
Hey, send it on Facebook. If I get on Discord, then your face will disappear.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Well, okay. Let's take up some dead air while I open that up.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, dude. Hey. If we're going to talk about Kamala Harris, now look, we can talk about what a VP does. It's very important. People don't know that, and they need to know what a VP does. But boy, oh boy, do I have a can of fucking worms on her that I opened a long time ago. And I'd like to almost go find my post before I speak about it. But boy, is she riddled in some conspiracy from where she's from. And it's not really even theory. It's kind of true. And it's kind of the most rough shit I've ever heard. It's kind of like something that I don't see why we haven't heard about it more often. I actually heard about the story through NPR, which is very odd. But boy, it's a can of worms on that lady. She is not a very upstanding citizen in my eyes. I'm very surprised that she was the pick, with the fact that what I know about her that's factual is kind of out there. I've already heard it on a news cycle once, so I don't see why it's not happening again. But it's rough shit, dude. Has a lot to do with a lot of intersexual relations with her and like a member of like the commission she was involved with in LA. She actually got caught, and so did the male involved. She was having sex with him. She had sex with him, and he gave her a certain position in local city government. That's the most garbage shit I've ever heard in my life, and that's who the Democratic VP candidate is, and that's rough. Alex didn't hear a word I'm saying because he's deep in thought, but I'll go get this. I'll go get this and bring this out because it's something that like literally they've asked her about, and they've asked the guy about, and he was pretty loose with it. She was pretty I don't know, pretty spot on about it. It's pretty rough shit.
All right, so this is what I got for what does a VP do? Okay. So pretty much not shit.
Yeah, it's just, I figured it'd be a big thing. It's really small.
The major thing is, and I see that link. Did you get it?
Yeah.
The president, and this is from Senate.gov. The president is like president of the Senate. Like, so not to be confused with like the speaker or anyone like that.
Oh, is that who they're referring to? The president of the Senate's role?
No, the vice president is the president of the Senate.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Is they're referring to the vice president when they say the president of the Senate?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So he's only there to break a tie. Also, he doesn't even vote, and he's not even allowed to speak without express permission from the Senate. Obviously, he's in line to succeed the president. So that you could argue that's pretty big. You know?
Yeah.
Especially for like someone as old as presidents are, or track record of having heads blown off. So succeeding the president, preside over the Senate, break ties. They also do, this is not on here, but I found out later, they also do a lot of mostly just campaigning, holding conferences, and they have a lot of sway as far as who's going to be on what committees and who's going to be in the administration. And because you always hear that, the Trump administration, the Trump administration, the Trump administration. Do you know, I'll save this for later because it becomes relevant. Do you know how many people are in the cabinets?
How many cabinets are there, first off? Is there 9 or is there less? Kentucky has 9 cabinets. Departments, sorry, rather.
Here you go. Here's a link to the Trump administration, or the administration. Following President Trump's election, there were around 4,000 political appointment positions from the incoming Trump administration needed to review and fill or confirm, of which 1,212 required Senate confirmation.
Damn.
The Washington Post has identified 705 key positions requiring U.S. Senate confirmation. So we're talking about thousands of positions. So when they say the Trump administration, they're talking about literally thousands of people.
Yeah, a lot. Like, that's crazy that many have to undergo Senate appointment. To me,
Yeah.
That's nuts. 'Cause that's a whole shitload, and God knows that's not a fast process. Jesus.
And I saved that for later because later I'm going to get into something about. They point out, because I went for the most biased stuff against him I could find to an extent.
Against who?
Because I didn't want it against Pence.
Okay.
Because I found out what he did, and I didn't want to just find some like fluff or piece. I want to be like, all right, what do the people who are critical of him think? And I think that's important. I actually heard that from Crowder. He said he actually spends more time reading news from the other side of the aisle. Obviously, he's very right, so the left. He said, I spend more time on CNN and all these other places than I do anywhere else. Because if I'm not willing to hear their side of the view, how can I critique them? So I try to go with that when I can make myself. With that being said, here's the long list.
Fuck.
About 20 things that Mike Pence did while you weren't looking, is what they said. 20 things Mike Pence did while you weren't looking. And I'll tell you what I found. We don't have to go through every one, but this is what I found.
Upworthy.
Pretty much, it's all he talked to someone.
Upworthy's a trash can.
Things that are of note. So he has actually made several tie-breaking votes.
That's important.
Well, yeah, and especially because, like, apparently there haven't been a whole lot of them in the past. But that lets you know just how divided we are right now.
Right. It's a bad.
But so these are the headlines: 20 things Mike Pence did since taking office that you might not have noticed. 1. So this is number 1. In January, Pence and others lobbied Trump to take hardline positions on abortion. making good on some of his anti-choice. Notice that wording, anti-choice, not pro-life, but they call it anti-choice. First time I've seen that worded like that. Campaign pledges. Everyone knows that Mike Pence is super pro-life. That's like the number one thing he gets made fun of for.
God, this is terrible journalism. Sorry.
All right, so that's how it starts. All right, and what I read from that is he said lobbied Trump. So that's not like an act you knew. Like, how can you prove that he bends Trump's ear? You know what I mean? Like if they word it a lot like, I'm like, oh, if Pence hadn't been in the president's ear, this wouldn't have happened.
Dude,
I just feel like it's.
Pence walks in and says, "Hey Trump, you want to do that abortion shit?" Trump goes, "Fuck out of my office right now."
Here's another one.
Trump ain't listening to nobody's shit, dude.
Pence has led the charge to advance Trump's policy agenda. Did he do this by legislation? What's he done? No, you may have seen him popping up on Sunday morning political talk shows to push Trump's agenda items.
What the fuck? What the fuck is this article?
Here's another one.
Pence did things for Trump.
He's been very vocal about supporting the use of tax dollars to fund religious schools.
Oh my God. Welcome to Republicans. What the
now,
fuck?
I haven't got a chance to really dive into these, but just off the surface, it's just like he went and talked to people, or he had people to the White House to talk.
Literally, number two is like number two covers the rest of them.
Yeah, inviting anti-abortion activists to the White House. So here's one. Spent much of February selling the nomination of Dale Grouch to the Supreme Court as mainstream. Right, so just again talking to the media, stuff like that. Stuff of really, I mean, you could say it's important because it is the VP talking to the nation and stuff like that. I don't want to downplay it, but I don't want to upplay it either. All right, here's one that actually counts for something in my book. Pence cast the tie-breaking vote to confirm Betsy DeVos as Secretary of Education.
The first.
Are you familiar with Betsy DeVos?
Say the rest of that.
DeVos, however you
say the rest of that, because that's very important. The first time a vice president has done so on a cabinet pick. So that's the first time he's ever been a tie-breaking vote on the Secretary of Education? Damn. Yeah, I think Betsy DeVos is... Oh, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I don't know a whole lot about her, but everything I've seen from her, she's hot fucking garbage.
Yeah,
and they do point out that she has no history.
None. I'll go look it up.
Yeah, no history. Let's see. In February, DeVos was under immense scrutiny from Democrats and moderate Republicans. Billionaire heiress had zero education-related qualifications to run the department, but she did have a history of donating to far-right causes and championing the use of public money to fund schools that would advance God's kingdom in line with Pence's own views in education. With Republicans Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, that's of Alaska and Maine respectively, voting against DeVos' confirmation, the 50-50 vote went to Pence to break the tie.
Damn, that's crazy.
He voted to confirm her. Now, you can blame Pence for that, but what about the other 50 who voted yes? Right. It doesn't fall just on his shoulders, okay? But that is pretty big. It's groundbreaking, too.
Just context for Betsy DeVos. She was educated at a Christian high school, a private school located in her town of Michigan. She graduated from Calvin College, received a Bachelor of Arts in Business Economics. During college, she was involved in campus politics, volunteered for Gerald Ford's presidential campaign, and attended the 76 RNC to participate in a program for young Republicans. She was a member of the Christian Reformed Church. That's really it. Participated in the Michigan Republican Party. Personally raising $150,000 for the 2004 Bush re-election campaign. Hosted a fundraiser at her home in 2008 for Bush. Spent 2 as a finance chairperson for the RNC. Or the National Republican Senatorial.
Back up to early. Did you say she actually did some teaching? Is that what?
No. That's. I don't think that she's ever held a teaching spot. Been active in Republican politics for decades. And that's it. And then it says she donated to Jeb Bush and Carly Fiorina in 2016, and then she supported Marco Rubio. In 2016 in March, she described Donald Trump as an interloper and that he does not represent the Republican Party. She's a chairwoman of a technology, manufacturing, and clean energy
So
group.
big fat nobody with zero
Yeah,
credentials.
and I'm sorry that I'm just sitting here going. Neurocore, they're investors in that. Biofeedback therapy for depression. It's ADD, autism, and anxiety. And then that's it. And then
I think it's kind of
nomination.
cool how you can go back and look at like somebody's donating record. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
That
very,
they
that's
have
really
the ability to
important.
do that. Because talking about putting your money where your mouth is,
Mhm.
like it's. I mean, like people vote on platforms, but platforms only so good. Let me see what you've done. You know,
Right.
that's why platforms are really important for brand new people. You know what I mean? Like the freshman force and all that. Their platform is really important. But people like Biden and stuff like that, okay, your platform is all well and good, but let me see your track record.
Right.
And which one is what everyone's doing to Kamala right now.
I've always thought that money and like an audit is the ultimate accountability test, and it's like knowing where somebody puts their money is where they put their mouth. That's a good one.
So here's another actual thing about Pence that's holds some depth and weight. In May, so I don't know when this was written. I'm sure it's on there. I'm sure probably 2019. It's talking about the first 3 years in office. In May, Pence was named to the head of Trump's Presidential Advisory Commission on Election Integrity. There was a pretty big thing. I remember some commotion about it. So the commission was established based on Trump's unproven and unfounded claim that there was widespread voter fraud during the 2016 election. I'll say this: there was also unproven and widespread about voter fraud from Russia. I mean, there was some proven, but it was like so minute and blown out of proportion.
Wait,
it was ridiculous.
Wait.
It came down to what, Facebook ads, right?
Oh no, it's 100% confirmed fact. Cambridge. That's why still to this day Mark Zuckerberg is undergoing depositions. Like he's our.
Like,
Go ahead.
tell me, what was it like? It wasn't like, from what I heard, I could be wrong. I want to hear the fact on this. Wasn't it like a very minute amount of like Facebook ads is what we're talking about? What happened?
Cambridge Analytica went out and collected, I think it was 61,000, and I'm not joking about this. They had, on average, they had, I think, I don't want to say the number, but it was several thousand, under 10,000 data points on every American, every single person. You can do and say whatever you want. They've got data points on you.
Right.
Cambridge Analytica.
That's the way with TikTok. That's the way with TikTok.
Right. Cambridge Analytica collected all that data, and they sold it to Facebook. Now, why did they sell it to Facebook? Because Facebook's ads are targeted due to the interest that you have on Facebook and due to the things you click. Literally, the things you click. Like even just on that. Cookies in your browser makes that possible. But people that were considered potentially malleable on their political sway, they would get Republican ads shot to them. And this is facts. That's why
that was from Russia?
Now the whole Russia thing comes in because Russia apparently had a lot, and I see this today. Russia apparently, though, if you go to like DuckDuckGo and say you were to search up like right now, say you were to search up something about Biden, I can almost guarantee that if you were to search something on DuckDuckGo about Biden, you would find it in probably 50 places on the internet. Word for word, weird places like car part forums. I'm not joking. Like forums about baking, Pinterest articles, Blogspot posts. That's not Americans doing that shit.
Right.
Now, it's been proven that is a foreign entity that's going around and posting those things by independent journalists and people that have, dug into it. But Russia comes into it because he thinks, or it's been reported that Cambridge Analytica also accepted data points that Russians had received on Americans from Russia. So it's pretty.
So there's definitely been meddling.
Yes,
but it hasn't been tied to anybody.
Yeah, we don't know who to blame. Like that's right. What I think the American government doesn't know who to blame. Zuckerberg, to blame, his advertisement specialist. That's another person that's been on deposition. There's a lot of people that they don't know who to point the finger at. AOC was just in Congress finger wagging at Mark Zuckerberg for ads. Like that was the other day. That was a week or
And
two ago.
another thing, which is odd because we can't even get an ad on Facebook for fighting ignorance.
Right.
Because they
Ridiculous. And it ain't even a political ad. It's not even a political thing. Actually, in the ad that we want to post, he says, "Are you sick and tired of all this left and right?" Like, and it's a Mary King, and you know you can have your reservations about him if you would like, but he's in the thing. He talks about how we need to have conversation. We need to be open to conversation, and Facebook won't allow us to make that an ad. It's stupid. It really
so
upsets me.
the worry, and this is all what I've seen from the left. So everyone on the left calls it a failure, a waste of time because they didn't uncover anything. This is once again the Pence and head of the Advisory Commission on Election Integrity. But the worry is that the data collected by him and Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach, if that's how you say his name, they collected a lot of data. They made requests for extensive voter information from states, and it says that many voting rights groups worried that this commission will lead to widespread voter suppression, which, in my opinion, might actually have some depth and weight to it after seeing what happened in Louisville recently.
Yeah.
But that's all open. Once again, a lot of that's state to state, county to county, city to city. There's a commission in each state that decides how voting goes. So even there, Pence's ability to suppress votes in different states is just, I don't see it happening.
That's true.
8, Pence invited anti-abortion activists to White House to discuss merger on agenda. Later that month, he would cast tie-breaking vote to nullify an Obama-era rule allowing the Title X funds to be used for family planning services.
Dreamers Kill? Is that...
I would need to look into more. I'm not sure what Title X it is. Do what?
Was it the Dreamers Kill? Like where he killed that, or
Hero?
Title 10?
No, Title X funds to be used for... it's Title X. I don't know.
I forget what this was.
Is blocking the Title X role in the motion to proceed. So the 4 broken ties, confirming divorce, the motion to proceed on blocking the Title X role, the final vote on blocking Title X rule, and the motion to proceed on the Senate's healthcare bill.
The Title X Family Planning Program, officially known as or Population Research and Voluntary Planning Programs, was enacted under Nixon in '70 as a part of the Public Health Service Act. Comprehensive and confidential family planning services is what Title X does. So there's that. I didn't know that. I didn't even know that was a thing. It doesn't even... Restoring state control over Title X family planning funds. Well, that doesn't sound that bad. What the hell? Allows the states to be able to mess with that shit. So did you look up anything about Kamala at all?
I didn't. I stayed strictly on Pence. But the rest of it is all. He met with someone, he talked with someone, he invited someone, he gave a speech. Another thing that actually did hold some depth and weight, in June it says Pence was put in charge of the U.S. space policy. Pence being someone who likely doesn't really believe in the whole evolution thing, so that's just leftist bullshit.
God.
I'm not a Christian, I'm just saying it's bullshit. That's slandering. Thing once claimed that smoking doesn't kill, so you'd have to look that up on its own. I'm not sure about that. Seems like an odd choice to dictate everything and anything related to science. That's what President Trump did after signing executive order bringing back the National Space Council.
Bringing back the National Space Council?
It's still unclear what sort of direction Pence will take, though he has made some promise to put people on Mars, which is cool. Raised money. Here's one that kind of caught my eye. Raised money for his own PAC.
Yeah, that's weird. That's fucking weird.
So he addressed someone, hitting the campaign trail in support, pressuring Congress to implement stuff, anti-transgender policies. So basically, I talked to people, I gave a speech, I talked to people. A few things I've noticed, but not a whole lot. So that's the long list. That's the long list of things that Pence has done. So with that being said, all right, if Pence is as bad as everyone says he is, and he's just a Christian coming in here trying to just take away everyone's rights and make everyone a Christian, blah 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 blah. Like, if that's the most he can do, how bad can Kamala fuck shit up? Even though everyone says she just wants to put everybody in jail, blah blah. If that's all he can do, and you know how how pro life he is and everything else, how much harm could Kamala really do from the vice president's office? It sounds like she can do less harm from the vice president's office, if that's your point of view, than she could on the Senate floor or in Congress.
Right, agree. That's a good way to look at that. Yeah, so it's kind of funny that a lot of people are saying that it's dumb of Biden. Like, wow. Like, hey, but I will say that, and I need to look this up so that I can kind of give you the facts on it. But the whole thing in LA and her gaining the county prosecutor seat, the way that she ended up getting that, and the way that's been reported she got that, that's my out on her. I just don't like her because of that, to be frank. I think it was a very shitty and shaky thing.
You talking about the sex scandal thing?
Let me look it up. I searched sex Kamala Harris. Jesus.
I've just seen memes. Which you should never get your news from. It's a good jumping off point. You should never get your news from memes. Ever.
No.
Never share a meme without checking the validity of it, please. It's not hard.
Okay. All right, so
especially if you want it to be true.
Now look, it's not that this is conjecture really, technically, because some things happen, sex happened, and then people got jobs. So like, and it's been and it's the sex was confirmed because of somebody asking somebody a question after the fact, and then them saying that yes, that did happen. So you could technically say that these are allegations, but this is a like a list of events that ended up happening, and then she ended up with a new position. Writing an op-ed in California, Willie Brown, the disgraced former mayor of San Francisco and a notable Democratic Party power broker, admit that he and Senator Harris had an illicit affair in 2002. At the time, Harris was a young prosecutor looking to make a name for herself. Brown was a powerful Democratic Party leader. She was also 30 years her senior. He was also 30 years her senior and married. Undeterred by the marriage, Harris engaged in an affair that conveniently resulted in her being named to 2 prominent city boards in San Francisco. By the time their affair ended, Brown had opened up his Rolodex to Harris, and she had made key connections with other Democratic Party notables. She ultimately became the district attorney and continued up the political ladder, leaving Mayor Brown far behind her. So, what I take from this...
Sounds like a lot of conjecture, though.
Right. Now, and what I take from this is not that she's just a skank that got a job. That's not what I take from it. And, you know, apparently this is a controversial dude, so he may be just saying some stuff. But what I will...
It sounds like a lot of connecting dots, like, oh, she worked here, so she must have got connections from this guy. Like, things that, like, stuck out to me was, like, he opened his Rolodex up to her. Like, come on, man.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, if you know, if she's
you're going to get ties from somebody you work closely with. Like,
my thing...
he makes it sound like a quid pro quo type thing.
I think that it was. Listen. There's, of course, never going to be any proof, but... what I tried to do long ago, whenever I started hearing about Kamala Harris, is I started to grab a little bit of the demeanor and what people are saying, and of course people are going to say stupid shit. All I take from this, really, I'm sorry, like you could call me like an idiot for this and like ignorant for this. I don't care. I think that the initial thing sounds like that probably happened. And this is an article that I didn't read this from at the beginning, but one that I have.
The substantial part of it is the $4 million is what's substantial there.
$4 million, or
whatever that money sum was.
Okay, yeah. My thing is the job thing. I'm not saying that girls do this. I'm not being sexist by saying this either, but I've read other places that said that she has commented on this. I need to look this up and do a little more research and be more prepared about it.
I know the comment you're talking about, and I feel like I read into it, and I feel like I saw it come up empty-handed.
I buy it. I don't buy that
I
she's
feel
a
like I
shitty
looked into it
politician.
and found that there was no proof of her saying that.
I don't buy that she's a shitty politician. I buy that that's how she got involved in politics. Cause I don't know. That's just, there's like, this dude's not going to just say this. I'm thinking that there's some truth to this. He goes on to explain how her future, or after she left him behind, then he's got personal things on that. But I mean, to come out, because she hasn't denied it. You know, she could just deny that she had an affair with the guy. But
well, one thing I've noticed from people who experience cancel culture, whatever you want to call it, the best course of action is always to not even engage. So, I think silence isn't necessarily a conviction. I think it's just like, man, the best case of action. Some things is just to ignore it.
She bites on a lot of shit, though, dude. This is something.
She's got so much other shit going on that's the least of my worries with her. I saw her get wrecked in a Democratic debate against Biden, and my girl Tulsi Gabbard mopped the floor with her. And every time they talked about anything about her prosecutorial past in California, the only thing she would fall back on, she wouldn't say anything about what they accused her of, or she would only say, I made tough decisions and I didn't kill anybody. You know, I was against the death penalty. That's what she always said, was I was against the death penalty. I made the tough decisions and I'm proud of that decision. And she would take up dead air just talking about how she didn't kill anybody and that she decided not to use the death penalty in many cases, no matter what they had to bring up against her.
I just don't see her accolades. In San Francisco, I'm telling you, this story, like, you can say that you don't want to go off of it. I'm going off of this. I'm not writing a whole report card F for her over this story, but it's clear to me she didn't make any crazy legislation or do anything notable in San Francisco, because I have looked that up too whenever I was looking this up. Whenever I was researching into this, she didn't do anything in San Francisco that made her any type of power mover in San Francisco, other than just randomly receiving these roles. I'm not saying that she did have sex with somebody. I'm just saying that there was probably some sort of personal relationship, whether it be sexual or not. And I think that she's a woman that got into a role and has since run with it and made some good choices. But I feel like she's like underdeveloped for where she's at. And I'm not going to discredit her being vice president. Everybody's new and, new roles they take. But
this is California too, and I feel like, God, this is going to come out all wrong. I feel like California, more than any other state, is going to go, which person nomination is going to look best for California being voted?
Right. True.
Here's a safe move. Here's a safe nomination. Here's a safe appointment.
I agree.
Here's a safe hire.
Or maybe not even, because their politics are kind of just ridiculous in California. It's like kind of all a joke. It really, really is. So, she said that she wanted to make she wanted to make America look like LA. That's what she said. This was recent.
Oof. I saw something about this is her words. So she passed some legislation. I don't know if it was statewide or if it was area-wide for, but that would make it jailable. Child's truancy was jailable for the parent.
Wow.
Apparently some parents actually went to jail over the child's truancy.
Nice job. Cool.
Which they extrapolated that those with less income usually have a worse problem with child truancy. Therefore, it was attack on the lower class and blah, 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 blah.
Sounds about right.
I see both sides of it. I'm like, you know what? If you say you're pro-education and you don't back that up somewhat, like I can see the thinking behind it. I kind of agree with it, and I kind of don't. Also,
I don't at all. That's like I feel like that's the constitutionalist coming out in me. It's kind of like if school officials came to my house because they were upset, like say that my son had a teacher that maybe made a remark and I said something to the school and they didn't want to do anything, and then I just didn't put my kid in school. Nobody's going to come put me in jail.
As long as you're rolled in some sort of have proof that hey, I'm homeschooling or something.
Well, and yours, do you know that? Because there's obviously something in this that I mean, like it's hard to say. Well, she did some legislation that had to do with truancy in school, and it just be like, if you miss 5 days, then we come and talk to you. I'd like to know more about that.
I'd say before they jail, I would severely hope that it would have to be like just the most egregious cases,
Right.
that would actually result in jail time.
Well,
So that
we know how the state deals.
Put that on a pin and
Yeah,
really
seriously, I'd like to look into that.
From her mouth, hear her say, "I passed this legislation that made it jailable."
Right.
For truancy.
That's oof. When it comes to kids, man, I can't get with the state trying to force me to do something. I don't know. That's kind of rough. If I'm not fit to do that shit, then they should be able to do it. But otherwise, that's why.
The big one for me, and I haven't looked into the substance of it. I'm going to, because this is all pretty new. And like I said, instead of zeroing in Kamala, I said I'm going to zero in on Pence instead, just to try to do something out of my element and try to do the opposite of what my nature intended. Because I feel like it's the best way to fight my own ignorance is not go with my, oh fuck. Attack this person. Let's review this person instead.
Yeah.
The big thing that jumped out at me also was, so she made a smirk when anyone asked her if she had smoked weed, but she was like really hard against weed, which made a lot of people think that like, oh, I can smoke weed, but I'll jail you for it. But that's pure conjecture. The other one was, oh, I had it on the tip of my tongue. Fuck me, I just ruined it. There was another big one I completely forgot. Oh yeah, she made some sort of statement about not wanting to let people out of jail simply because it was cheap labor.
Okay. Haley Stevens said, my thoughts. If she'd already made a name for herself and then an affair happened, I could let it go and say, so what? Her personal sex life doesn't concern me, but to get started, she's screwing her way to the top. How can I take her seriously? See, I'm not thinking like that. But I am thinking kind of with the first part of what you said. Alex is not on this train of thinking, but she did nothing. Like she had no notable anything. This random crazy ass cokehead mayor comes out because he is a cokehead. That's what everybody like accused him of being a cokehead. He comes out and says she has an affair with her. Now, of course, we listened to a cokehead say he had an affair with somebody, and am I going to apply that to somebody's character? I don't know. She ended up with a job. He said they had sex. Then he gave her a job. That's what he said. And he did that. Or he did the give her the job part. But for him to say that it was because of the sex is kind of funky. He's a cokehead.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. And I'm not even a Kamala Harris fan or anything like that. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Okay.
Everyone I've ever talked to who knows about Erin Brockovich praises her for being upfront and honest about, fuck yeah, I screwed whoever I had to get that story. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Erin Brockovich.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everyone praised her for that. Like, she uncovered a big fucking thing about some sort of water kept secret. Like, water was harming the public. This is like the Tilder too long didn't read. So water was hurting the public. They've known about it for a long time. She uncovered the story about fucking a bunch of people, get the story, and fucking write the paper. A bunch of people in jail, a whole bunch of
right.
And everyone I've ever talked to was like, hell yeah, do what you got to do to get that story and own that shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I find it hard to say that, and at the same time, like, well, Kamala Harris fucked her way to the top. Like,
Trump grabs women by the pussy, right? He said that with his mouth, and we've heard that. I think that Trump said, grab him by the pussy, talking about power and all this shit. I just think, really honestly, Kamala Harris grabbed something by the dick, and now she's like in politics. So I'm not saying that she's worthless now. But what I am saying is that this random prosecutor, got a job in one of the most prominent cities on the West Coast. And the only thing that the former mayor said, that the only reason that he gave her the job, right? I wanted to say that, but I didn't know if I was going to be too general with that.
She ended up working all the way up to the state's DA,
right?
Attorney.
Hey, man, and post her getting that job, I'm not saying that she's a shitty politician, even that. But you don't just go to San Francisco and right on in there and get up in there, okay? That's conjecture on my end. don't care. I've heard too much of this shit. I've read way too much into this. I'm not saying you're right. I feel like if somebody were to come out and have a sexual harassment allegation against me, which will not happen unless they are lying, of course. But if that were to happen with me, I would just stay silent to it. I'm not. What do you think? Do you think she should stay silent to that if it's not true, or if it is true? Do you think she should stay silent to it? Period.
I feel like if and God help her if she uses me as a political advisor, that's what I would do. Anything unless legal action comes against you or becomes so rampant you can't ignore it, because this one just hasn't.
Right.
I feel like ignoring it's the best thing you can do, not feeding into it.
I agree.
Because once you talk about it once, you're gonna have to keep talking about it.
What's funny is
they made a soundbite out of it.
They
They
did talk about it
media rounds
a few years ago.
More media rounds.
I'm very, very surprised that I haven't heard of this come up again. We'll see it in the next few weeks. That's facts. We'll hear about the sex affair with Willie Brown, the cokehead. We'll hear about it very soon. And that's when it'll get dismantled and destroyed, and then she'll be... Because I'm not even really applying it to her political career, or I'm really just kind of applying it to her character. And I'm not saying that I hate her because of that, but it's evident to me that when she gets in a political sphere with other people that really know what they're talking about, aka Tulsi Gabbard, she gets destroyed.
I love Tulsi. I don't care. I mean, I love Tulsi. I love me some Tulsi Gabbard.
I think you just think she's hot, Alex, okay?
Well, I do think she's a very beautiful woman, but I don't agree with everything she says. I don't, but I agree with a lot of her platform. And she's like Dan Crenshaw, dude. I was looking at her Twitter earlier, and she has all these videos of her like, I just voted on this and did this and blah, blah,
I saw something from her today, I think.
And she doesn't lowbrow.
Right. Yep.
She doesn't lowbrow. Like she was very critical on Trump for this is pretty big stuff. So they voted on, and this was just, I didn't dig into it as far as Russian tweet. So they made a vote to do more new nuclear testing, which is against
you sent me this
some sort of pact,
right?
Some sort of pact or something. And like there were 2 votes made on, she voted against them, and I think they passed, saying yes, we're going to go ahead with new nuclear testing. I'm mixed on how I feel about it. I feel like if we said we're not going to do new nuclear testing, we shouldn't vote to go ahead and do it. We should first vote to undo this first.
Agree.
That's how I would vote for something. So I'm with her on voting against it. I'm with her 100%. However, I don't think you can be the first one in a Cold War like we're in to go, you know what? We're going to be the ones to step. We're going to be the bigger person. I mean, like,
hey, has that happened in the past? Has that happened in the past and it worked? Because the new, I don't know. I'm just throwing out like a devil's advocate type thing.
Well, I mean, the only thing that's kept anyone alive since multiple people have the atomic bomb is mutually assured destruction.
True.
And the moment any one superpower gets like we did and says, "Hey, you know, I see your atomic bomb, but I raise you this," and something that says you're not going to be able to use your atomic bomb, or it makes your atomic bomb look like shit,
right?
Whatever, we're screwed.
Right.
We're all out of them. We're all dead.
Yeah.
So I think right now, I mean, I'd like a utopian society where we all just lay down our arms. We're all the bigger people, and we all just stay with the mutually assured destruction that we're at. But that's just not the case. We can't trust the other guys.
Right.
So I think for us to say we're not going to do nuclear testing, knowing that the other guys are, is just a fallacy. Just a fallacy. It's just not a smart move, in my opinion.
I agree.
But I think we should be open to say, hey, you know what? We know you're doing it, and we're going to do it. We're not going to just sit here and play this cat and mouse and act like no one's doing it when we all are.
Right. That's interesting.
Especially when you're so open about it, like you're voting on it in the fucking house.
Right. Right.
So, I sent you one more link about Pence. I'm going to show it about Pence. And this one was the Indianapolis Monthly. And I went to it, and it was just a short list, and it pretty much hit everything the other one did. But the things I noticed about it, I just wanted to point this one out because it just goes to show how you can make something look, how you can make something look, how without any words or anything, how you can set the tone, what things you have to look for when you're doing research about Homer or something like that. So first thing I noticed, look at that picture of Mike Pence in this. What does that scream to you?
Lol.
Incompetent,
Old.
sad. Great.
Broken
can you show that on
down.
screen for everyone to
It's
see?
on. It's on.
Okay, yeah.
Broken down, destroyed.
Yeah, just I mean, how could look at this sad sack of crap?
Mhm.
And of course, it's not as badly written against him as the other one was. In fact, they even say, "Hey, it wasn't Dick Cheney."
Yeah.
I don't think he has the brains to be Dick Cheney.
Yikes.
So he staffed most of the federal government. Pence stocked the cabinet and federal agencies with a number of Hoosiers. Approximately
Whoa.
34 people from Indiana worked in the Trump administration. And I was
Hey.
like, is that a lot? And that's what had me go look and see how many people work in a president's administration. And it came up with that ungodly number. And so 34 people out of all those numbers to be from Indiana does not seem like a large number to me.
Hey, who gives a fuck? Like, why the fuck does it matter where they're from? Whatever.
Well, I mean, I think it makes sense because if you're saying, hey, he's more worried about where they're from rather than their qualifications, I think that's that's a good point to bring up against somebody.
Yeah, but they're not even doing that. I don't even know why. I just don't know why that's
34 people.
He staffed most of the federal government.
All right, he has taken
34.
the lead on rebuilding the nation's space program. We read about that. He raised a lot of money for 2020, and that's it. I don't think we have to worry about I don't think we have to worry about a serious Mike Pence run for president. I don't think we ever have to worry about that.
Yeah, it seems like he's pretty complacent.
But I'm sure people said that about Biden too. So
wild. Biden is so. Just the last person I thought would be the.
So what do you got? I know you have a lot to bring to the table.
What I want to do is I want to ask you some things. Like I have questions because I have, and I'm gonna go. Look, dude, I'm not beating dead horses here because I want to ask you your opinions on these things, but it is things that I've talked about in the past. But things that have evolved to be other things now. I don't know, dude. I'm probably gonna say this, and you're like, God. Okay. There's one thing that's apparent today, and listen, I'm starting to see how we're doing things here, and I'm not so sure that even what I do when I bring stuff to the table here sometimes on some topics is even very productive. Other than like the social aspect of fighting ignorance and like your interactions with people and I feel like here lately I'm starting to get a real sociological look at how people are intaking things and doing things with them. Like the momentum of causes and like movements and and how they're exacerbated during election year and then I don't know. Like I'm really starting to get a grip on that stuff, and that is very, very. It's almost alarming in some cases to me. I don't know. So it's just things that I'm focused on, like right now. I've been involved.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If this wasn't election year, how big were the things that are big right now?
Right. Like even, and this does not take away from the movement at all, like the actual core of the good part of the movement, but like Black Lives Matter, that wouldn't have been a thing this year. And that's sad to say, and it's kind of like a little bit of a hot take, but it's the truth. And I feel like a lot of people might kind of know that. I don't know.
I feel like George Floyd back to back after Ahmaud Arbery was a big eye opener for a lot of people.
True.
And I think just the blatant, because things are going viral more and more quickly these days.
Especially with quarantine, dude. It's like
triple. I never saw anything go as viral as quick as George Floyd did.
Same. Ahmaud was a weird one. It's kind of tangible a little bit.
Because we literally sat there and Ahmed, we literally sat there and watched George Floyd die.
Yes.
Like the whole time you're on the phone, you're like watching it or computer, you're like, they're about to get off his neck. Like, surely this man's not about to die like this. Like,
Right.
I don't
Or
care
or
how
he's
you
gonna punch
feel.
somebody in the face and
Right.
get something.
Like, or and I didn't hear any. Well, what did he do? But like, that was pretty enraging. And I think since then we've all seen a lot. And came out before then. I've seen that video of that guy in the hotel room. He's crawling. He's drunk. Literally, you can see he has nothing on him. Boom, boom, boom. Like you could tell that cop couldn't wait to shoot him. And just the other day, when you saw that guy come out of his apartment for the video game noise complaint, no, the guy didn't have a weapon, but that doesn't matter. It don't matter.
He did.
Right.
Hey, what? Hey,
He
what was in his
literally-
hand?
He entered the door with a gun at his
Right,
waist.
right.
He saw the cops. He immediately went down. Whoa, hey, look, I'm putting the gun down. Boom, 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 shot in the back. Shit is crazy right now, dude. Cops are fucking crazy right now, and I'm not an A cop.
Me either. That shit's trash. Shit's
Um,
trash.
The amount of police killing people.
And not being held accountable. That's
And
the
not
thing.
because- There are many cases. There's like, okay, hey, it's up in the air.
Right.
You can see it from multiple points of view.
Right.
But there are many cases where it's just George Floyd, where it's like that. There's no fucking way.
No.
You know what I mean?
There's no way. It's a break of
So-
protocol. Just, you can, blah, blah, blah. He was a criminal. Shut the fuck up. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter, man. Yes, he needed restraint. He needed some physical force. The dude was acting crazy. 8 minutes with your knee on his neck is not, I know chiefs of police nearby that I've spoken with this about so that I can have some content. They say that's not right and they do not like that.
I don't understand. The biggest thing for me is once he's detained, once the cuffs are on, why would you still be on him? Now it's time to get him up and get him
Right.
Why are you just chilling on him? Like waiting on what more backup? There's 4 of you already there.
Yes.
But that's my whole point. I'm just saying, would it be as bad if it was an election cycle? Probably not. But would there still be
People upset for
protests and
sure.
stuff like that? I think so. I think
Right.
we'd still be looking at a big movement after the videos we've seen come out. I think Ahmed back to back after Ahmed and then George Floyd back to back. I think that you were definitely looking for a big cry out.
Right. Okay. So here's the formal question that I have. All right. I want to know. Okay. Well, I'm gonna take it. We're still on the same subject of we're still on the same subject, but I'm gonna send you a link. I want you to open it, just so you can have this information in front of you. There's that. It's not a lot. I know that you've heard about this, probably.
I have definitely heard of
Right.
I've definitely heard about that.
So, I guess over the past 2 days, I've been on Facebook a lot more often. A lot more often than I usually am. We've had a lot of time at home. We're kind of just, sitting here waiting. So, I've just been kind of intaking a lot. And I'll see
For
these.
those listening at home, that's the North Carolina man that killed the 5-year-old child. Just walked up and shot him in the head for quote unquote for being white.
Right. So we've all heard. Most people have heard of the story. I'm gonna pull up his face because people are like, I don't want to see his face. Well, this is the piece of shit. Okay. I mean, we can all agree. I don't think there's a single person that doesn't agree that this guy is a piece of shit because he just is. So there he is. What's his name? We got.
Oh, there are people out there though. They're very friends, and I wouldn't say it's the majority, but there are people I've seen, and of course they're getting blasted. So I'm not going to say where's the outrage. There are people in comment sections going, saying very racist things. I hope rest in privilege. We're tired of talking. We're shooting, stuff like that.
What the
Make it
fuck?
very racial.
Well, that's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay, man. Because you know what I've seen, and this is
You'll
not
see the same thing on the other side.
Yes, oh yeah, for sure. But he'll get taken care of in jail. So
Oh, for sure.
thank God.
For sure.
Isn't that such a great accountability system where we can just put people in
I
jail?
don't agree with
Oh,
it.
you don't? I think so. Sorry. This is where
No.
we're just going to have an impasse.
I mean, I believe the correct way to go is the judicial system.
Oh, of course, of course, of course, of course.
And I think he should have this. I mean, I think he should have this. I think they should take cases like this and segregate them as much as possible.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Nah. Fuck them. Listen, this is a hard take.
I get it. I'm outraged. I'm outraged like you. I want to see that stuff happen, but I don't. You know what I mean?
I do.
Like, I address my baser instincts and I say, hey, that ain't right. I believe in the judicial system. I need to believe in the judicial
I believe in the judicial system. He needs to have due process and be put in jail. But I also very much believe in the jail system, the jail accountability system. It's good. I think it's great. I think it deters some people. It's deterred at least one person from, man, if I do this shit, I'm going to go to jail and I'm going to have a shitty ass time. Obviously, people are just going to do whatever the fuck they want. So, you know, if another thought is what's going to happen after I do get caught about this, you know, if they're not already thinking they're going to suicide out of it, and you know what? I'm not even saying I wish he would die in jail. I'm just saying he'll get taken care of in jail, and I'm glad about that. I'm happy about it. It's good.
To me, that's that senseless violence. I mean, you can call it whatever you want. They can come out and say anything about oppressed society or whatever, or they can write a manifesto, just like the person who went to that New Zealand mosque and shot all those people. Just like anyone who commits just an egregious act like that, there's no real thinking behind it. Obviously, they have some kind of mental fucking ill. It takes a mentally ill person to go and just kill a kid out of nowhere like that.
Agree.
So
especially like
I
that.
don't agree. I don't like whatever their reasons were. I don't care because they're not real. They're just mentally ill.
Right.
Like the New Zealand killer, he cited Candace Owens in Spyro the Dragon. So
yeah, and I've actually read that manifesto, and he did, and it's kind of ridiculous. I'm not saying anything about him, but he'll get taken care of in jail, and I just don't give a fuck. And if you can disagree with that thought process. That's just. I mean,
am I going to lose sleep worrying about his safety? Absolutely.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
But I'm also going to say that he should be afforded everything from the Department of Corrections to keep him safe as any other inmate. For sure.
Sure. Yeah. He won't. Anyways, people like this don't need to exist. Like, just I don't even care what happens to him. I just don't care.
And that's why I'm a big proponent of. I do like the death penalty in open and shut cases. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way he's going to win that. So as soon as he gets found guilty, which should be as soon as possible, it should be a quick speed trial. Hey, you're obviously fucking guilty. You're fucking guilty. The only thing that they're gonna be able to do is claim insanity. But if not, as soon as you're found guilty, let's get a bullet in your head or a rope around your neck or whatever, a lethal injection as quick as possible. Whatever's the cheapest to the American people. Let's get that done as quick as possible. Let's get you out here. And I'm not big on the death penalty. If there's any chance you didn't commit this crime, let's let it run its course, because I don't want to see any person put to death by the state.
And that happens constantly.
But something like this, dude, we know you did it. Just die.
Listen.
Don't cost us no more money. Just die.
Agree. We've gotten into semantics too much of it, and I didn't obviously want to go out on a spiel about how I wish he'd die in jail, because I don't wish he would die in jail. But something's gonna happen in jail, and I don't give a fuck. But anyways, have you seen what's happened with the story today?
The only thing I've seen is people going, "White lives matter. Where's the outrage for this?" And the only thing I say to that is, I mean, I feel you. I'm mad about it too, but
you're mad about what?
This guy's already been put in jail.
Right.
Like,
okay.
The system's working.
Right.
For him, like, there's nothing to write about because he's already been put in jail.
I got in an argument with Walden today. Imagine that. I shared a meme that stated that this guy and George Floyd, or the small child that got killed, and George Floyd do not have the same coverage, and that's bullshit. What do you think about that? Okay, hold on, real quick. The shooting happened August 9th, okay? George Floyd. Let me and give me your remarks. Give me your thoughts on it. I'm gonna look up the length of time between George.
The same thing I just said. The George Floyd thing. I hate to call it thing. George Floyd got so big because no one was arrested and there was no justice.
Right.
This kid, I mean, justice is.
Do you know for how long? That's what I'm looking up. I don't know how long it was between the incident and then the officers being, like off pay, and I think they're still in custody, right? Or I don't even know.
All I've heard is the man's in custody.
I haven't followed since big things came out about it. But he was saying that they didn't have the same coverage, and I was like, well, I mean, the content of their coverage has been the same. I mean, we've except for things that happen after the fact when this guy's in jail. He's like, well, we don't know anything about the guy that killed the 5-year-old. We don't know anything about him. And then he said that it was crazy that with George Floyd and the cop, we knew everything about Derek Chauvin. We knew where his wife went to work, where he went to work, all this big info, but we know nothing about him. And I was like, well, it's 3 days old. So like the guy's in jail, there's no outrage because justice has been served. Justice wasn't served. I asked him, I said, go ahead, give me your thoughts. I'm interested in what you had to say about it.
When it gets down to like, oh, we don't know anything about that all has to do with the media and what they're choosing to amplify.
Right. And we can't control that.
Remember the Casey Anthony trial?
Mm-hmm.
Like she was already in custody and shit, but you know what? It was already a media frenzy. The public was looking at it big depth. They wanted to know, so they looked into it.
Right. I said one fell victim to a criminal, one fell victim to a cop. Who does society need to put in check more? And then I asked him what would suffice to make those two cases even, and I didn't get an answer.
Haley Stevens brings up a good point I hear a lot about is we don't know cops day to day. Right? I hear that a lot. We don't know the pressure they're under, how much they fear for their life, and so on and so forth.
Hey, Ashley just asked me if someone's on my porch, so I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and keep talking about this.
But please do.
I have actually, I was a big proponent of that, but then I've realized, and I saw this through a meme that kind of made me think, cops are allowed to lose their cool and make rash decisions and take lots. Not allowed, I don't want to say it like that. Cops lose their cool and it's explained away like we don't understand the stress they're under and blah, blah, blah. But citizens who are not trained are supposed to keep their cool while having their gun pointed at them and stuff like that. Like, you saw the guy crawling down the hotel floor drunk as shit. He was supposed to be able to follow every single little command this guy was yelling at him and keep his cool, with zero training for crisis management, zero training to keep his cool. But a cop in the same type of situation is supposed to be able to, it is excused because of the pressures of the day-to-day job and stuff like that when they've had the training. So I don't agree anymore with we don't understand their pressures. We don't understand how much they're going through. And like I said, I'm not an ACOB at all. I'll support a good police officer all day. And I even admit that no one's perfect. I don't expect all of our police officers to be 100% perfect. But I don't agree with that take at all. If anything, more slack should be given to the citizen who has no training than an officer who's trigger happy. Like I just saw, and this doesn't speak for all officers. It's just, they're isolated incidents. I wish we looked at them more like isolated incidents. I wish we, instead of looking at it like canceled cops, defund the police, which is the thing, it's defund the police. I don't like the wording, but anyone could agree and look at the expenditure of the police force and everything else in the city and agree, okay, well, maybe we should trim down on this a little bit and spend money on other things. Like, if you want to have an intelligent conversation about that, then we'll talk about that. I see that, Haley, but I also think, you could say I think it was a weapon and I shot and I killed an innocent man, but it doesn't make it right. Like, they're supposed to have the training. So that's where when the George Floyd thing happened, that's what I thought everyone's big cry was, we need better trained cops. We need more training. We need better thinking cops out on the street, because we don't want incidents like this to happen. We don't want to demonize all police, which is what a lot of people jump to. but we need better training. So if they're supposed to be trained to, if they're supposed to be trained to analyze a situation and make a judgment call, we obviously are lacking somewhere along the line, and we need better training. That was my whole thing on it.
I want to read you what she said. This thing, cops are all scared for their lives. Oh, I'd hate to be a cop too. It's just like a politician. I hate to be a politician, right? I know Alex just talked about it, but it's basically take your chance to get killed if you think they have a weapon. Because what if you're wrong? That is what they take when they go into that job. I'm not saying that. Go ahead.
That's my whole thing was like, they need better training, and that's what everyone was coming out as soon as the George Floyd thing happened. It was, we need better training. We need more training. We need better training.
Right. And I've heard it explained that Kentucky has a much more this is coming from a Kentucky police officer, so maybe he's biased, but he said that compared, he's a pretty sensible guy, so I take his word on this. Compared to other states, Kentucky has a pretty comprehensive training policy as far as when it comes to police officers compared to other states again. So he says that here that things like that may not come to fruition as often because they're taught to deal with things differently, and it's like psychological mitigation first. Like that's like that's his approach. He said that's my approach at my precinct. Or he didn't call it a precinct, but I think he called it like station, whatever.
Well, and that's I wish we looked at them more as isolated incidents rather than incidents as a whole. You know what I mean? Like we see a lot of videos and we see a lot of bad cops, but like they're drops in the bucket. I feel like. I think all police as a whole could use better training
for sure.
But I think when we take 100 drops of water and we cram them together and look what police do, I think that it's kind of unfair to police.
I agree.
I like to believe there are more good cops out there than bad.
Mm-hmm. My big thing is like we don't know anything about a 1,200 man police force. We've got 13 cops or some shit in any city we're in.
Just couldn't understand it in rural America.
And that just makes it easier for people to make bad judgment calls. And I mean they face the public a lot every day. That's why there's so many cops, because the population is so heavy. So I don't know. I don't chastise all police. I don't do that shit. I really think I think too that do you agree? Would you agree, Alex, with me on saying that I think that it's become a little bit better to say, well, not all police are bad, and look, you've got to take the groups we're in out of this because they're all ACAB idiots, okay? But I really think that it's come to the point to where a lot of people just notice that sometimes police do things that's wrong, and that not all cops are bad for a decent majority of it. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing cops holding him accountable.
Are getting, from what I see on my social media and from talking to people, things are just getting more and more divided as ever.
With the police thing, that's all I'm talking about.
Even on that, you're getting more and more ACOBs, and you're getting more and more. I back the blue 100%.
I feel like a lot of people have a common agreement that on Derek Chauvin he should probably be charged with involuntary manslaughter. Like
absolutely.
That's cops I've talked to.
Opinion, they really fucked up charging him with murder too.
Agree, because it'll get.
This is what's going to happen, and if they keep that charge and he goes to trial for that, he's not getting charged. He's not getting. No. It's not.
It's not murder too. It's just not murder too.
Guess what's going to happen when he's found not guilty? It's going to be fucking Rodney King again.
Yep.
People are going to lose their fucking mind.
What do you think about that? How do you feel about that? Do you blame him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're going to.
I'm just asking.
And they're going to go, how did these cops get off for killing him? Because you tried to charge him for something he didn't do. You can't prove premeditated.
True. That's true.
Murder 2 has to be premeditated.
And that'll be a misconception. That'll be like people won't know
and
that.
All they're going to see. Well, I mean, not just black people. Everybody who's marching against this, and as soon as they say not guilty, it's going to be Rodney fucking King.
but real rioting. I feel like there will be a lot more rioting than there would be
yeah,
marching.
for sure. I mean, people are going to lose their shit.
And now look, this is why I asked you what you think. Or do you blame them? I'm going to tell you, it's a situation that I'm not put in, so I don't really have to think about it. But I try to think about it because it's happening to everybody around me. You know, I've got friends that are African American, and they don't feel like I think they feel like society is trying to make a divided line between us and him, and it's sad. And he's a pretty like emotional guy, but I've asked him, like, you know, what do you think about all this stuff, man? I don't know. He just don't really want to even talk about it, and I'm not sure I blame him. It's kind of sad. It's really sad, really, to be honest.
Haley says she's trying to see it from both sides, and you should always try to see it from both sides.
Agree.
We always appreciate your input, and don't ever be afraid to just disagree with anybody.
Right. It's one thing for the McDonald's worker to not get my order right, but certain positions cannot make mistakes. One mistake is a life mistake or life. So look, and this is why I can see where qualified immunity comes from. I can see it. But I also just don't understand what we do after we know that maybe the cop made a bad judgment call and didn't follow protocol. What do we do after that? They blame the police department. They don't blame the cop. And that's where I have a problem. Qualified immunity makes it to where we can have a full, very, very laid out understanding of what happened. And you know what? That's another reason as to why the George Floyd thing is we've got so much information, is because when qualified immunity kicks in, that's the reason for that. One of the main reasons for qualified immunity is so we can get a fully comprehensive investigation on what happened in that incident. And that's why that's a big proponent of qualified immunity, which I agree with. But
so you would say, don't get rid of qualified immunity, but revise it.
Revise the fact that the police department is held accountable on areas of lack of protocol instead of holding the police officer accountable for breaking protocol, because that's how it should be. I don't know. I think qualified immunity is very flawed. I think it's a very flawed thing because of that. Okay. So generally, a lot of people are saying that it's because of race, which makes me sick to my stomach. And it's a lot of right wingers. I'm seeing a lot of the right on here. I have like a few things here that right wingers have. And look, all I did, it's here lately. It seems like I'm shitting on the right a lot because the right are acting like idiots lately. I'm sorry. That's just how that shit goes. We've got all the conspiracy shit, QAnon, and all the pedogate garbage that's being thrown in there and diluting the actual cause.
The pedogate stuff is from both sides for sure.
Yeah, it's all from both sides. Like, that's definitely not what I'm saying. But it's definite, and you can say whatever. I would like for you to expand on why you would think this way, but it is definitely a lot more propelled by the right. Definitely. 100. I have not. What's weird is now with the pedogate stuff, what I'm seeing from the left is them say, like, the right's just trying to virtue signal. Why don't you talk about Trump? He's locked kids in cages. There was one that was actually, like, in my opinion, honestly, a pretty decent point to make. But they're all going to make points that sound right if you're looking at it from a centrist
something
view.
About I saw something about, like, 1,500 kids go missing in ICE camps, and everyone stays silent.
Right. The Obama administration actually is guilty of literally handing kids that were, that were detained at the border from their parents that broke law, international law, gave those kids to child traffickers. Literally. It's a court case. The guy has been, he's in jail right now.
I read something about that.
And it's really a true thing. It really happened. I don't know, man.
Well, that's the thing. There's so much real stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we grasping at these straws? Why do we want to see this big conspiracy where where the elites are fucking cutting off kids' faces and Moloch and all that shit?
I have to.
Fact,
go ahead.
Here's a meme. I have to look this shit up.
Send it to me so I can put it on screen. Man, Alex, personally, and to listeners, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I bring this up consistently. It's just evolving, and it's fucking crazy. It's insane. Like, from what I have gathered, and I went live last night, Alex, just for like an hour on my personal shit, just because I wanted to talk about this. But here's the way it works. You get your cause, right? You got the cause, and it's up in the air, and everybody's woo, yeah, okay. Then you get the opportunists. They come in and they make a line from the cause. They split it down the middle. The opportunists come in and they fuck something up. BLM is the cause. Opportunists, rioters. They come in and they make a line. Everyone's focused now on that opportunist that leads to the cause. So everybody's like, right, man, they're all fucking rioters, dude.
It takes away from the cause.
And guess what? What do we hear about Black Lives Matter now? Nothing. Now, causation doesn't equal correlation. I don't think that maybe that's...
And it's crazy because it's getting less coverage, but there's a lot of shit happening, like especially in Portland still. Shit's getting real bad still.
It's still bad.
They're moving into residential areas, telling people to give their homes away and shit.
Right.
And of course, but even then, the headlines always say BLM protesters do this, so it makes it look like BLM as a whole is doing this, but it's just like,
right. The opportunists.
People going up to someone's home saying, you need to move out, you're a gentrifier, you need to give your home to somebody. And they word it to make it sound like all of Black Lives Matter is telling everybody to give their home away.
And it makes them money. So that's why they do it. Some people are, caught in their own biases whenever they give an opinion article on something. But man, they just make money off of it. And that's why.
One guy I've been really disappointed in is Tim Pool. Y'all heard me on the podcast praise him before, but here recently, I mean, the only thing he's putting up is something about Portland and Black Lives Matter. Like, there's so much more shit going on. I'm not saying that's unimportant, but dude, like, okay, let's talk about something else for a moment. And he calls himself a centrist all the time, but I'm never hearing it.
Me either. That's really funny. I've never heard that from him at all. It's kind of like
the way he talks about the left all the time. And me, I love to hear someone talk shit about the left. That's me. But I'm just like, man, Tim, dude, it's getting hard for me to.
People here lately think that because I'm very critical of the right that I'm not a centrist. Well, you know what happened, right? 2016, I was Trump, and now I'm here, being critical of what I should have been critical then. So all it is it's just it's my mindset previous to where I am now made it easier for me to be critical of the right. I've always been critical of the left, so that's still here. I think identity politics is one of the stupidest ventures in American politics, period. It's ridiculous.
It's never going to be over now. It's here to stay, I think.
Right, great. Yay. That's what the left is now. They are the identity politics party. And of course,
it's just going to get worse and worse.
Yeah,
and worse.
they both are. They both are. We need opportunists in both aisles, and we all need to focus on the opportunists so that the cause gets so that they all get diluted, and we can start focusing on different parties.
There's only one thing that's going to save us when it comes to the infighting, and it's sad, and even that may not work because virtue signaling and just wanting to go against it's going to take a foreign war. We're going to need someone to point the finger at and go, there's the bad guy, for America to band together.
Jesus Christ.
So check out that meme I sent you.
Yep.
I'm hoping you've seen that. And then I also sent a link afterwards.
No, I didn't. Oh, I think the Snopes article is what I pulled up. Okay, there we go. There.
It actually wasn't Snopes. Okay, it is. Yeah, that one is Snopes.
Damn you, biased source. I'm joking. That dude Snopes is... Look, Snopes was ran by some pretty liberal fucks, but look at a Snopes article.
Reliable.
Go down through it and read it and do it yourself. If they say true on something, read into why. Don't just go, oh, true, exit. Don't do that. Okay.
Yeah, they're still they're pretty reliable.
There's the meme. You can go ahead and say what you want to with it.
Yeah, so I mean, of course they put it up there, and it looks like whenever you Google something and it's a quick answer, like a no-brainer, Google will just like show you a quick little excerpt from something.
Right.
It says New Jersey child predator who says pedophiles are a persecuted minority wins appeal. a convicted sex offender who argued that pedophiles are victims of discrimination and that laws against sexual conduct with children violate his rights, has been granted an appeal. And then in big text under it, it says, "They are setting court precedents for when the storm hits Hollywood." And so I saw that, I went, no motherfucking way.
Right.
So I snoped it. Actually, I googled literally New Jersey child predator wins acquittal. I worded it exactly how they worded it. I didn't get that thing pop up, but I did get this.
You got the Snopes article pop? That's
Yep.
okay.
Did a convicted child predator win in an appeal on discrimination grounds? Of course, I'd heard before that was he was trying, just in the meme. False. This says origin in conjunction with an ongoing conspiracy theory holding that rings of Hollywood elites are engaged in sexual trafficking of minors to pedophiles. The above displayed meme started to circulate via social media. The meme purportedly documented the case of a sex offender who supposedly won an appeal on his conviction by arguing that pedophiles are a persecuted minority. This was yet another example of a meme that presented some truthful information but was deliberately misleading through its failure to provide context for that information. As exclaimed in the underlying news article, so there's their source under it, referenced in the meme, the picture man is Gary Walczewski, who in 2016 was convicted of first-degree aggravated assault and related child pornography charges and was sentenced to 46 years in prison. Walczewski argued unsuccessfully during his trial that pedophiles are a persecuted minority. The New Jersey Code of Criminal Justice wrongfully makes this conduct a crime. It is true that in January 2020, Walczewski received a very favorable ruling from an appellate panel. However, he didn't win in an appeal of his conviction, and that ruling had nothing to do with the courts reconsidering the merits of Walczewski's already rejected argument at trial that pedophiles are victims of discrimination, as the name falsely suggests. Rather, the appeal was granted on narrow grounds related to Walczewski's constitutional right to a speedy trial. 7 years elapsed between his 2009 arrest and the commencement of his trial in 2016, and the lower court was ordered to examine that issue.
What the fuck? Wow. What a crazy story, truly. But wow. That's all you had to do. That's all you got to do whenever this shit comes up. You just got to look it up. It's that
when
easy.
Let me see how many shares that currently has. Just that one share from that one guy. I'm not going to put his name out there. It's my boy.
Jesus Christ.
He may have took it off because I put false on there. Yeah, I think he took it off because I put false on that one so quick.
But you know that meme has been dumped on Facebook. And dude, listen, I want to say sorry.
Right, not long after I saw it again while I was scrolling, and Facebook was already starting to flag it.
Good. And while I said good, I think it's weird that Facebook picks who they flag. But
I think it's scary. I don't know.
I think it's a weird
I'm on
precedent.
the fence about Facebook censoring stuff.
Hey, I like the time thing. I like the time thing. I like whenever you go to share something, and after Facebook's kind of caught on that it's an old article, they tell you it's an old article.
I agree with that. I agree with the, hey, this just let me know this is an old article.
Right,
but I think instead of like covering whatever it is and saying, hey, this is old, do you still want to read it? I think maybe a little bar come up and saying, hey, just let me know this is old.
Oh, okay. Well,
the red thing under it, be like, hey, just let me know this is
I
old.
don't care about that. I'm not dismissing what you're saying. I'm very happy that Facebook has put a post wall between you posting an old article and now. I love it. I think that's not.
I don't like them not allowing to share something. Period. I mean, unless it's child porn, or pornography, or something that goes against obvious community
I
standards.
agree with this, though.
I think we're getting into a big territory, and it's been building up. You see Twitter banning the president, right? Which he's back on again.
Hey, check. Were you talking about where they shut off his ability to tweet the other day? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty.
How long did that last?
A few, like hours. I think it was like less than a day, but less than 24 hours. So it wasn't that long. But I don't. That's fucked. I don't like that.
Well, what I'm seeing is eventually it's going to come down. Because all these tech things, man, that's the stuff that's going to be up in the air. It's going to take a long time to mash out, if it ever gets mashed out.
Right.
Because these big tech companies, Google, Viacom, or whoever, just whatever, throw them out there. Especially Google, they control the flow of information.
They've changed the
And
world.
they're so big and they're so ever changing that it's hard to put. Or it's so new. No one knows how to handle this. How do you
Right.
make them do it? Like
Right.
cyber anything, putting legislation towards anything cyber is just extremely difficult because
And-
it's like, how do we handle something this
Right.
this, how what do you write in there? How can you, because there's so many liberties, and it's really fucking difficult.
The internet.
So-
The internet used to be like a true Wild West, and now I think that it's a Wild West where we're starting to get cities. Okay, this is all figurative. Cities that are kind of getting power, and then I think we're going to need to see some sort of something happen organizationally.
It's the free market capitalist in me going, I agree, but I don't agree. Just like
Right.
the healthcare system. Like, I agree, but I don't agree. I agree, I don't agree, I don't agree.
Right. It's rough.
because
They
I
are
agree,
because they're private entities. They are,
they're private. Exactly. But
and that's the hard part.
when you get so big,
They're
aren't
not.
you subject- Well, here's my thing, and it doesn't matter how big or small they are. You're either a fucking editor or you're a fucking platform.
True.
Or a publisher, or
Right.
you're a platform.
Right.
Or you're a publisher. If you're a publisher, you can be like, if you're a publisher, you're responsible for what's on there. Okay, that's where we're saying, hey, this is false or whatever. Like,
Right.
if a publisher, no matter what you put out there, you're responsible for. No matter what your users put out there, you're responsible for. Just like a publisher of a newspaper. If you write a column in my newspaper, I'm responsible.
The
for
podcast.
that I release.
The podcast, even good example.
Right. We're responsible. All right.
Right.
But like Spotify isn't responsible for what we say in our podcast
Right.
because they're a platform.
Right.
Okay. When you start censoring people because you don't agree with their politics or whatever, you're now becoming a publisher.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree. So like
And-
what? So where do we bar? This is a hard thing, but where do we bar where?
See, but then there's the other argument, like you said, like, hey, it's my company, it's my business, I do what
Right.
the fuck I want.
Because that's the
It's like,
truth.
damn. Because like, then you get into the whole like, do you have to bake someone a cake?
Right. And it's a sticky situation because everything is precedental. You do one thing and you kind of it's
You wanna
it's
talk
actually
about
it's actually
election
not
meddling.
precedental. Yes, exactly.
You want to talk about election meddling?
They get the pick.
I've mentioned this before. When Tulsi Gabbard and Hillary had some sort of beef with Hillary Clinton, so that was prime moment for Tulsi to be very relevant, and people were googling Tulsi like crazy because she's going at against Hillary Clinton, who's very big. Anytime you go in it with the Clinton, you're going to be huge.
Right.
Okay, for a period of time, which was like her secret window. I don't know exactly how long. It's been a while since I remember following this story. Like, if you were in America and you Googled Tulsi Gabbard, or you Googled that story, you weren't going to see it for like the second or third page. If you switched your VPN to another country, it would pop up first page. You want to talk about fucking election meddling? There you go. And that was proven.
Yeah, it's factual that Google really does change algorithms on stuff. I feel like I'm kind of like trying to
Anytime they're called out for it, they're always like, "Oh, just a glitch in the system," you know.
right, and that's obviously a lie. I mean, you don't have to have an associates in applied sciences and software development to understand how the fuck algorithms work on a search engine. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of
If I Google Tyler Adams and I don't find you when you're super relevant, but if I change my VPN to any other country but America, I find you, you're obviously fucking withholding information.
right. Hey, and look, while I do understand how algorithms work on the side of like, if I were to search milkshake shops, I'm not going to get milkshake shops in California based on my location. But that's
Right.
exactly that's exactly the point. Why don't I? Because my algorithm is set a certain way, and they're just
Location settings and stuff
right,
like that.
and that it has a lot to do with that. But I feel like I feel like it's an argument that's easily dismissible for Google. Like they're like, yeah, man, it's numbers and shit, bro. We can't do that. We can't mess with that.
I feel like that's a hard one to really argue.
Oh no. That's what I'm saying. Like they could just say it's numbers, but like, you know, I'm like I said, I'm somebody with a very, very basic degree in software development, and I
don't know shit about it.
I know it's bullshit. Like yeah, it is just numbers and shit, but like it's Google, bro. All they'd have to do is blacklist a fucking website, and then it's not there anymore. It's not that hard. Like, it would be very easy. Read what Haley said, if you don't care. I'd like you. I'm in. Listen, I want to say this formally. I'm sorry, because I am sorry. I'm sorry I keep bringing up the same shit, but dude, like my worldview is being affected by how people are acting on these things. It really is. I'm starting to really see how extreme extremists are, and how in heavy numbers they are, dude. It's crazy. People don't even know they're extremists anymore. They're so.
Well, sometimes I wonder if there are so many extremists, or if they're just not the ones that are the loudest. That's why you always hear about. Have you ever heard of the silent majority?
Yeah. Well, everybody thinks they have to be heard now about things that may or may not even be realistic or true. And that just dilutes the cause, and then eventually just makes it disappear. It's insane how structured it is to fail on every big possible thing. What the fuck?
So Haley Stevens says, that's why I hate it, because there's so much false information or biased information from both sides. This is why I never dug into politics before. I don't know if it's my age or the fact that I have kids, but I'm trying to inform myself, but it's a lot to take in. And I feel like that's where most of people our age sit. Yeah. It's like, you know, either you were never in politics before and trying to dive into it, even being in politics or whatever, you know, stuff. There's just so much going on now.
And we don't even know it all.
There's a million lead stories. There's a million lead stories.
Alex and I are still so dumb about it, aren't we, Alex? We are.
Oh yeah, I don't know shit about nothing.
Hey, and we are up to date on a lot of things that a lot of people aren't. But it's not like we have some hidden knowledge. It's just
that. I mean, the thing is, like, I know a little about a lot. I don't know a lot about anything.
Right. That's exactly how I am. Jack of all trades, master of none. I feel
like
when
it comes to like
I spread myself out
political going-ons, like I'm more I guess in politics I know more about domestic things than I do geopolitical things. I don't know a whole lot about things going on in other countries or America.
Check Facebook.
I don't know a whole lot. I probably know less about foreign policy and such like that and everything.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing. Like, people, we don't realize how much we're in the middle of a Cold War right now, and it really didn't.
Hey, check your Facebook real quick.
Until Tulsi said something about it, that like we are in the middle of a fucking
scroll up. And Haley, like seriously, sorry, Alex, I just didn't want to interrupt you and say that out loud. Like. Sorry.
He told me I was making a noise from rocking in my chair.
Dude, it was fucking taking these mic levels like bow, bow, bow. It's all right. Pay attention, people. Good job, Alex, for bringing everybody's attention. Alex, do you think, or do you feel like maybe that since you've had kids, this is like a thing that you feel like you need to think about more?
I feel like having Xander has actually had less of an impact on my craving to know what's going on in the world than anything. I used to be super political, or I used to be super opinionated and knew nothing. Right. I feel like that's still kind of how it is, actually. But I used to be super opinionated and know nothing. Like back in 2016, my little sister was like, "I'm voting for Bernie," and I didn't even know anything about the guy. I was like, "Yo, fuck that guy." And then I Googled, like, why is Bernie Sanders bad? Just so I could have
like secretly, like if she caught you searching that, you'd be like, "Oh, I'm just."
Yeah, I was like, man, that guy. He's so flip floppy.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't know nothing, but
You know
and
that?
then
Hey, do you remember the Tanner guy that was in our panel podcast?
yes,
Okay, him and I have a really weird history.
Big Daddy, right? He was Big Daddy,
Yes,
right?
yeah. Big mustache daddy. Like,
Yeah.
him and I have a very weird history because in 2016, I was who you were speaking of. And I think he was who we're speaking of, too. I think him and I both were pretty opinionated on, I was on the right, he was on the left. And now, it's... To hear him say it, because I asked him, I was like, so we're going to talk about what we argued about forever ago. Because me and him got into arguments to the point to where we didn't join the Discord whenever the other was in there. We were pissed at each other about this shit because we made it personal because we didn't fucking know what we were talking about. We didn't even know what we were talking about, so we were just like, well, yeah, man, economy. Like, I don't even know what the hell we were saying. It's just a bunch of bullshit, right?
Just anything.
And then
and
then now, what's funny is he's way more small government now. And I've opened up a little bit liberally as far as social issues go, and on social issues we are kind of in the same realm, and we're also kind of in the same realm now on anything that has to do with economy or anything like that, and it's really weird. And he says that it's because he's had a lot of time to reflect on himself and kind of really position himself in and figure out what he thinks. And I would think the same for me. Like, I've, had the ability to have a house and just the goings on of life.
Real world experience.
Right.
World experience. You see, the older we get, the more we see the way the world really works. So, like, when I was younger, I had this idea of this utopian society where everyone did their dream job. Or I had this, like, I guess you'd call it communist. I hadn't had a name for it, but, like, why can't everybody have a house? Why can't everyone just give their work away? Why do we even need to have wages? Why can't everybody just go to their job for free and everything's hunky-dory and everybody has a house and everybody just do what they please? And then you see the way the world really works. You see the world work out, all these other things.
And how disgusting. Ugh. But I love it.
Well, and that's what I see is I see a lot of young people who are like, well, why can't we this or why can't we do that? Or if you don't believe this, you're just a bad human, stuff like that. It's like, man, look, I was there one time, dude. I was there. What scares me is the people our age who've been there who are still indoctrinated.
Right. That are still indoctrinated to hate everything. Like, look, things. This is kind of a weird blanket statement, but things aren't as bad as you will dig and find. People are crazy and people do weird shit, but like overall, the system isn't like a. There's a lot of flaws, so I'm not saying it's perfect by any means, but like, I don't know, dude. I thought it was way worse than it really is, and way less. Do you feel like? Okay, so back then,
the older I get, the more flawed the system looks to me, and
right.
the less hope and faith I have in the system. Like, I'd say the one part of the system that I have the least amount of faith in, this is probably is the judicial system across the board. Just across the board is just broken and defunct, and it's scary. And until you've known someone who's been through it firsthand, now, and this is a fact, if you've got money, it's going to work better in your favor.
Right.
And someone who doesn't. That's just a fact.
That's gross. It's a hard thing to stomach, stuff like that.
But you can't demonize everything.
Right.
You can't demonize. So what I've seen is if you get a public defender, especially in a small town, so I can't speak for larger towns, but small towns, the public defender and the prosecuting attorney and the judge all know each other and they see each other every day. It's the same. You probably have 4 or 5 public defenders in the fucking area, and
right.
A few paid lawyers who make the rounds, and everybody knows each other, and they all go to the back room, and they all decide what's going to happen before you even come out on the floor. And the public defender is at, hey, we already. It doesn't matter what you want.
Their families grew up together, and
right. And so it's like it's very disheartening because it's like, well, I'm going to get what they give me. There's no fighting it. The caseloads are overworked and stuff like this, and it's just you're at the mercy of the courts. Wherever you are, and you have, like, my dad has literally been told, like, he's like, well, I want to take this to trial, and the defender be like, we're not going to do that. He's like, I want to take the trial, and he had to literally be very adamant about, I'm firing you. You know what I mean? Like, you're done.
Right.
It's crazy, and until you go through it and really see it, I can't even describe how scary broken it is. And like
Right.
you think, you know, oh, the court system's fucked, man. With that being said, there's a lot of good happening too, especially right here in Kentucky, man. For addicts like me, uh, like we are not big on throwing you in jail and throwing away the key. We're big on recovery first because the numbers have proven it's cost efficient to taxpayers,
Right.
and you're going to have a better record, more of a chance to put someone back on their feet, send them to rehab 3, 4, 5, however many times, than is to just lock them, jump away the key. And so there is hope at the end of the tunnel. What I'm saying is, yeah, it's shit's bad, especially on the surface if you look at it broadly. But if you really look at it, like, what are the reasons for this? So yeah, your public defenders are just not great. They call them public pretenders a lot of times.
Right. Yeah.
But a lot of them, they have good hearts. They're not going to just be pieces of shit. I sure hope not.
Right.
And it's because their cases are they're so overloaded in cases. It's not because you have like bad public defenders. It's because they're put in a position where they can't give it time of day because their caseloads are so big. I know that doesn't make it any better for you if you're in that position, but I don't know.
Does it?
If you can get anything out of that, that's just.
Do you still think that having your Miranda, like, okay, so part of the Miranda rights are that, you know, if you can't afford like a lawyer, one will be appointed to you. Do you feel like that's sufficient to say still that a lawyer will be appointed to you by the state, and you know, do what a lawyer's supposed to do, fight for you in court? Do you think that it's like still a
Yes, but I feel like people, I guess Hollywood has made it where you think it's going to be different than what it is.
right? Yeah.
Where the lawyer comes and visits. Like, for me, I never saw my lawyer until the day we're having court, pretty much. And they tell you, hey, this is what I got for you.
And the reason you're right, because you're right, is because they've just got so much shit. They've got so many dockets to deal with.
Very rarely, and like you can't get them on the phone. Good luck,
Right.
especially from a jail cell.
Right. That's
Good.
crazy.
If you don't have people on the outside helping you out, like if you go to jail and you don't have people on the outside doing everything for you, like you are not getting a hold of them.
Right.
Even paid attorneys are rough to get a hold of and stuff like that. Like my public defender came to see me in jail one time in 6 months, and that was after. And basically they said, look, you can either take, this is what I got for you. You can either take the charge, and you're going to go to prison for 2 years with a felony. We'll drop it down to a misdemeanor, and you can do 1 county year, which is 365 days. Federal time or state time, people don't realize, is different state to state. So if you go to jail for 2 years, and you're going to prison, you're actually going to do about 16 months. It's 8 months is a year, state time. So you're 16 months.
Right.
And then you can get.
Hey, hold on. Let me ask a question about that. And you may not know this, but is that just because that's what the state has defined as a year, this is a wrong term.
You get good time and stuff. So like
So is it on average? It's just 8 year or 8 months?
About 8 months, and
Okay.
it could be lower,
Right, or higher, right? Obviously, right?
Yeah, I mean you can fuck up, make it higher, but
Right.
pretty much you're hard pressed to get it more than 8 months. We can drop it down to a misdemeanor, and you can do a county year, which I was not doing that shit. County is so bad, dude. People don't realize, like, if I had already had a felony on my record, I would have took my 2 years in prison rather than do 1 county year.
Jesus.
Or we'll give you a pretrial diversion and give you 2 years over your head, which means I have that 2 years felony time over my head. We'll walk off 5 years on pretrial diversion, probation, which was kind of like a lot because usually they give you like either 2 for 2 or 2 for 3. When I came back to my cell, like, they give me a 2 for 5. Like, you got fucked.
Nice.
But in my opinion, like, hey, I'm about to walk it off now. Like, it worked best for me.
Right.
You can look at it 2 ways. You can look at it them working against me, or you can look at it like, hey, you know, if I had it less, would I still be sober? Probably, but I'm, you know, anything to stay sober for me right now, I'm not going to scoff at.
Right.
Would it be better to be off probation right now? Absolutely. But you know what? What's another year?
I want to say this, Haley. I know that you've seen this happen with me lately, and it's kind of rough, and it really hurts my feelings, and it kind of makes me really, really, really sad. But where I'm starting to be critical of both sides of things, because I am, but here lately, the things are coming more from the right, the things that I'm focused on. I'm helping Kyle with CLMN. I'm just kind of like advising, if you even want to call it that. Really, I'm making him graphics and kind of, you know, whenever he's like, "Hey, man, I want like a flyer for this call for this issue, or for this thing I'm doing," then I'll make it for him. I don't know. I'm a graphic designer. It's like what I do for a living. So like, if it's for a cause that I care about, and especially one of my friends that I know is not going to like, you know, use me or something, I'll just help him out. It's no problem. So that's what I'm doing with him. But like, I also do not allow. I told him that whenever I was gonna, you know, help him run this page and like give him ideas to do things, because that's what I do, like branding, pretty much. That I will not be a part of this if there's misinformation spread on it. Just because I don't think that contributes to the cause at all. I just don't. Like, obviously, I mean, it goes without saying that doesn't contribute to the cause, but I've been pointing out that a lot of the things that people are talking about that have to do with pedophilia are just things that are made up and exacerbated and not true, and connections that are made that just are outlandish and wacky. And then we get in that, like, there's one side of this whole thing that I haven't even touched on, and it's the religious side, because there is a heavy religious side to this, and it doesn't even make any sense. Last night, Alex, you know, I posted let me go back. So Haley, what's happening is I'm being critical of a certain party and how they are making a political thing out of pedophilia, and people that belong to that party are like telling me that I'm an idiot. Like, they're actually, well, somebody said, and it's a person that I was close with in high school, and that, you know, life has happened since then. So we, you know, we're still close, but we don't talk as much. I don't know. But she was like, you know what? We're just going to have to disagree on this one. I was like, there's not really a way to disagree. There's the facts, and then there's the fakeness. So like, you can say that you disagree with me being critical of this, but I'm actually just trying to tell people that this isn't true and we shouldn't spread this. And people think, one person thought that I was calling them stupid by saying, or that I like to make people feel stupid, but that's not the case. I'm wrong every day. Alex has said a few things to me tonight that I've been wrong about. And being wrong sucks, but it's not like I'm just going to like hermit out and go downstairs and go to bed and be depressed for 3 days. I've kind of gotten over the sourness of being wrong. Have you, Alex, kind of? In fighting your own ignorance.
I don't know if I'll ever get over that. Like, I was on the phone with my uncle the other week, and we were arguing about fucking Jimi Hendrix. Something about like him playing the national anthem and whether or not that was akin to burning the flag today. That's exactly what we're fighting about. And I was like, I don't agree with this. And like, I got fired up and I was rude with him and shit. And then like, I wouldn't even hear him out. I was already putting my point of view, and I'm not gonna get into it right now. But like, I got off the phone with him, and I was rude to him on the phone. I was like, I gotta go. And then like, I called down for a minute. I'm like, man, that was not very open. So I called back. I was like, hey man, I'm sorry. I'm willing to hear you out if you want. And hey, we had
but listen,
nice, great fucking conversation.
But listen, that's you getting a little more used to the taste of being wrong. That's what that is.
Well, open to the idea that I may be wrong.
Right, and that's what it is. That's how I feel like you usurp the frustration of being wrong, is when you become just more okay with it. Like, the fact that you're never perfect has to be something that you realize, or you're just going to be fucking mad at everything all the time. If you can't have somebody tell you that you're wrong about something and maybe adjust what you're saying because it's not factually just not true, then like, how are you able to have a conversation, and how are you able to grow? Because I just don't.
I think what sums it up too is a lot of people. You see those memes that go around where it's like people popping up on my timeline who were never there just to disagree with me.
Right. And
I feel like that's how it comes off. Like, here's this guy again. Got to fucking say something about something.
Well, fuck, these were on my posts. Not really controversial, Tyler, but I'm very opinionated.
I'm not going to get on every post and be like, I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm only probably going to pop up and be like, hey, I don't agree with that.
And that's and
Well,
I'm accepting and open to that, and I know you are too. But these people were applying the fact that I'm being critical about the lack of fact to my character, like that I'm like saying that Republicans are stupid, and I really didn't say that. I'll say with my mouth right now that anybody that shares anything that's misinformation is stupid, but
I haven't seen that.
Ignorant.
It's just not been my experience.
What?
I'm with Haley on that one. I have a pretty mixed on my Facebook. I see more virtual signaling than anything on my Facebook.
Mine's very, very mixed. That's not what I'm really saying. I'm just saying that, like, it's very clear to me that a lot of Republicans are sharing misinformation about pedophilia. It's just facts.
This is one thing I will know.
It was pedophilia,
Hardcore
Haley.
Trumpists, I don't engage with hardcore Trumpists. I just don't.
I can't.
Because there's, like, they're fewer and farther between than the huge mix of leftist ideology I see. But, like, I know that the Trumpists out there who are just like, because they're so like, I don't need facts. They're like, I don't need facts. I know. Okay. Where you still can't talk to hardcore people on the left, but you really can't talk to hardcore people on the right. That's just been that's been my experience.
I
Like,
mean, yeah.
if you're a hardcore
Right.
writing, like, there's no fucking talking to
And
you.
you know
It's
why,
like,
Alex?
You're just gonna hit caps lock and say Trump is God of America and freedom and all this, and you're a commie, and they're gonna hit enter. With the left, they're just gonna make personal attacks on me all the time, and I can just keep hitting them with facts, and they're gonna
Right.
come back with their own facts a lot of times, erroneous as they may be. But I can have a better conversation with a dumbass on the left than I can with a dumbass on the right.
Agree. Haley, I've hidden it since, so I'll let you be able to see it. Like, I'll do that after. You know why I think it is? I think that a lot of people, whenever they think something's true, they bring up these accounts. It's like, bam, this is why, this is why, this is why. Well, I think that you got a surface level of truth to people, their own truth. Then you've got your facts in between that they'll give you whenever you challenge their truth. But I think that the right, and boy, this is a hot take, at the bottom of that, and right here is like listening to you, and like being openness. But right here is religion. Because what has happened is I've told people, hey man, look, you're sharing something, you're using a hashtag that Pizzagate. Pizzagate has nothing to do with what's currently going on right now. Pizzagate was an issue.
It's over.
Right. Pizzagate's completely done with. And
Matter of fact, guess what?
That Dan Harmon video, guess how old that was?
How old?
That shit's from like Pizzagate. That shit's old as fuck. It's from like 09, bro.
It's,
That Dan, everyone putting Rick and Morty's canceled. Rick and Morty's canceled. Guess what? Dan Harmon shot that fucking video in like 2008, 2009. He already caught all the backlash from it. If you don't want to watch it, that's fine. But guess what? Dan Harmon's not the only person that has anything to do with Rick and Morty. You can't just cancel Rick and Morty because one person involved with it is a dumb fuck. Sorry. All right.
I know that you
All right,
feel
Rick and
strongly
Morty.
about this. I haven't seen anybody say anything. I've seen one person say, he said, man, I really hope this is so stupid. I cannot fathom being this shallow. I'm sorry. The person that this is not somebody that's close to me, so I don't care. They are the stupidest. This is the stupidest ideology to have. He said, man, I really hope that Dan Harmon gets off of the creators of Rick and Morty so I can enjoy it again. It's literally what he said. So what, you've been enjoying it up until you heard about a viral thing from 10 years ago? And then now
I'm always able to separate the art from the artist.
Same. Because I'll tell you right now.
I get people who won't look. Your purchasing power is your strongest voice.
Right.
No one, I mean, to an extent, no one gives a fuck what you're putting on Facebook.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You want to make a difference? Spend your dollars to make a difference.
Right.
You don't like Jeff Bezos? However you feel about it, okay, don't purchase from Amazon.
Right.
That's the biggest thing you can do to combat
hey,
Jeff Bezos. If you
the
hate
other-
him so fucking much, don't purchase Amazon. Don't say I hate Jeff Bezos, but Amazon is just so convenient. No,
Hey, listen.
no.
Don't say you hate how Jeff Bezos made fucking $18 million or $billion in a week, but then also proclaim, hey, if you have EBT or any sort of welfare, you can get Amazon Prime for free, and that's true. Isn't that nuts?
That's pretty cool.
I ain't hating on it. I think, is it cool? Sure. I think that if you're seeking welfare and assistance like that, I don't really feel like Amazon Prime should be like a thing. But what I will say is if you're
Prime Video, dude,
right,
wants
that's
that motherfucking show.
that's what I'm saying. I bet people don't even know that comes with Prime. Some people.
Well,
A lot.
that and also look how much you're saving on shipping now.
But look. Why the fuck
And
are
that's
people?
the
Hey, and look, I'm not one to like be like, well, you're doing stupid shit. I got an argument with somebody the other day, or a discussion about being responsible with your money. Of course, I think that should be a thing. But like in that, I said that I don't really think that we should be the people that say, hey, you should do this with your money, like, and that be the facts. But I really feel like it's kind of weird that if you're on welfare, that you get an open route to being able to have stuff shipped to you in 2 days.
Well, look at
free shipping.
how easy it is to get basics and stuff. I'm gonna have to really disagree with you on this one because you can buy literally anything on Amazon and for a much better price. And if you can get your back to school clothes,
Walmart matches
and your
Amazon
back-to-school
prices.
supplies,
Walmart matches
and your back to
Amazon
school-
prices.
no gas money having to be spent to get back and forth to Walmart. A lot of people don't have vehicles. I'm about to say it's really good for lower.
How do they have internet?
Internet is a commodity. Not a commodity. It's
yeah.
essential.
I think
Internet's
everybody
essential.
should get it. But like, how are they paying?
Internet's essential.
There's a lot of facets in this that I feel like are just dude, it's easier for me to
Well,
go to
I mean,
Walmart than
well,
it is to order from Amazon all day
You
long.
used to have to have a home phone back
Right.
in the day to get anything done. Now you have to have internet, and your internet bills are going to be cheaper than the home phone bills were back in the day. So I don't agree with like, oh, if you're a lower income and you need EBT, then you shouldn't have internet. No, you need internet because you need to be able to.
No, that's not what I
file
said. That's not what I said. I'm just saying, like, I feel like it's an odd thing for it's like this. Walmart and Haley, please tell me some more
They do,
information
Haley.
about
A
this.
lot of places they do.
Like Walmart tells their employees to get EBT, encourages
That's
it.
insanity.
I promise. I swear.
I
I'd like
know they do. That's insane.
Haley, I'd like
that.
for you to bring, but I feel like it's one of those enabling things. And I'm not saying that it's bad. That go ahead.
Did you see that thing where someone laid out? I forget who it was. I want to say it's Walmart. Could be wrong. Someone laid out and been like, "Here's a budget for poor people, or whatever," and it had like first job and second job.
Oh my God! Wow.
Did you see that?
No.
Job number 2, income.
They
It was,
also
like, laid out.
Walmart also matches every cent that you spend on their stock, which is cool, but weird. I think it's weird. I get it. I'd probably offer the same thing to people that wanted to work in my company, but fuck, dude, that's just so weird. It's like I don't know. That's just weird.
But I think the Amazon Prime free to if you need assistance is great. I think we need to see more of that because here's the problem. And I'm a social work major. I'm going to heavily. I'm going to go heavy in addictions, but I'm a social work major, and this is what I've seen coming from the lower class. This is what I've seen the problem is. So every dollar you make extra after you get, so say you get, you start getting government assistance, it's almost designed to keep you dependent on government assistance because while you're trying to crawl out of needing government assistance, you get negatively impacted every step of the way. So
Right.
like if I'm getting $500 in food stamp a month and then I get a $300 raise, I'm no longer eligible for food stamps at all.
Right.
So now I've actually lost $200.
Right.
And that's not an exact figure. That's just the idea. That's what I've seen.
Right.
Also, like now, you don't qualify for daycare assistance. You don't qualify for this. So it's like it's really hard to get from hey, I need government assistance when it's claimed to like be a stepping stone
Right.
to where like now that next rock step to is even further apart.
Right. Further
Yeah,
apart.
so-
Further apart from keeping you. And I'll let you go back. It's like. It's like when you're at the cusp of like being able to take another step. It's like you lose all the fucking assistance. So it's like.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's more stupid to do better than it is to stay where you're
Yeah.
at and
Like
keep.
if you make minimum wage, and I don't know the exact figures, you'd have to go and do the math, but like there's a number where it's like, okay, well if I make this much, I'm actually making less.
Right. Like right now,
And it's every step of the way. It's every step of the way.
like this is really weird. Okay, Ashley is on maternity leave right now. I think she's actually technically on vacation right now. She took like her vacation before her maternity leave. But we're looking at things and we're seeing that with Ashley not working, it's not that we would bring in more money per month, but we would money that we spent on expenses whenever she had a job, we will have more money for those expenses than we do now, but not like more money in our pockets, but like we got approved for an absolutely outrageous amount of food stamps. And like, to be frank, we'll probably use them just because she's out of work and we want to be able to save so that whenever, because look, this is something I shouldn't be talking about on the podcast, but after she goes back to work, like I've had to be really like put a big pause on my career and stuff, and like for the past 3 years because of something unfortunate that happened that was out of my hands with my last job, but after she goes back to work, it's like go time. Like I'm gonna really seek out like what I'm gonna settle into for the rest of my life. I really want to get a career established, which I have one decently, but I really want to make something of what I'm doing. And it's turning out to where, why would we do that? I really think that it'll be better for us to and I feel like this is where a lot of people get snagged, for us to take a break for a little while. Ashley's been working, forever, and it's looking like we might be able to take a break and take some family time. So like, why wouldn't we do that? It sounds great, and have assistance along the way as well.
Everything I've seen and heard from successful people says no, don't do that.
Oh no shit. Duh. That's not what we're going to do. But I mean,
Right.
It looks so
I
great.
I get it, and I hear this all the time. Haley said it's like I'm being punished for having a job.
Yep. And,
Right.
and it makes it really
I got
hard.
So mad when I walked in the food stamp office, or social, what do you even call it? When I walked in the food stamp office, call it whatever you want. We were applying for daycare assistance, is what we were applying for, and I got told we were way over the fucking limit. And the lady literally told us, she said, "Here's what you do," and she was just trying to help us. I was mad. I actually had to go back and apologize to the lady because I was a little rude with her. She said, "Come and apply once she's not working, and then you'll have it all year. You'll have that assistance all year, even when she goes back to work." But I'm like, are you telling me to fraud the system? Because after we start working again, we're supposed to report that income, and if we don't, we're liable to pay it back with penalties on top.
Right.
Now, the worker was just trying to help us out and be like, "Here's a runaround to get around that." But I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, that's what you want me to do? You want me to lie?
That's rough.
And we debated about it, man, hard.
Right.
Debate about it hard because daycare is expensive.
Yeah.
One of that daycare systems, you can get state-approved daycares for like $25
Dude,
a week
When-
almost, or something. Like just an insanely low
just
price.
a real throw in
And-
on the daycare thing. We got approved for a daycare voucher. My son and daughter will not go to a day. That's just a personal thing where they're not going to a daycare. But we told the lady, we were like, we don't need a daycare voucher. We don't do that. She was like, "We're gonna go ahead and give it to you. You can just, you can just do whatever. We don't need it. So like, keep it. Give it to someone else. Quit taking money from the state and giving it to me so that I can have it here and be like, maybe we'll just do daycare. I don't know. I just feel like that's like an extra weird thing thrown in. Go ahead. Continue. Sorry.
So, I mean, I got really mad, and we had to like really sit there and discuss like what's best for our family, what's best for our son. Should we bend here? And what we ended up going with is I was like, I don't want the first action I do with my son is a lie. You know what I mean? That's not what I want to teach
Right.
my family. Is it's okay to lie when it benefits your family. It's not okay.
Right.
So we ended up not doing it, and it worked out for us. We found a babysitter who was like $15 a day. It's an older lady. She does it out of her basement and whatever. And the sad thing is, that's probably fucking illegal.
I mean, truly, probably. How many
yeah.
kids does she have?
I think the most I've seen her have is like 12 at a time. But
That's
like,
illegal. Yeah.
her whole basement is converted into this daycare. She's been doing it for fucking 40 years.
Oh,
we
God.
make we just walk in at random times.
Right.
Just to see what's going on, and it's always great. Everything's going great, and it's her and her sister. So a lot of times there's two of them there, but it's great. And he goes 3 days a week, and it's awesome.
My aunt does that. But she
here's-
has a license.
here's the stuff, too. So, come tax time, Alana's doing her taxes, and I'm like, "Why are you getting so much money back for taxes?" It made me mad. Like, you're getting more money back than you put in all year. How does that fucking make sense?
Right.
Because we had a fucking kid.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm happy we're getting the money, but like, the fucking
Child tax
checkbook
credit.
person to me is going, "No wonder we're in fucking debt. No wonder we're in debt."
What is
But
it,
then
Alex?
I found out.
Isn't it $1,200, right, per child?
Oh no, you don't the earned income credit EIC.
Was it 1,500
So
or 12?
no, the earned it. She ended up getting back, and she didn't work like probably shouldn't say the exact amount she got back. She ended up getting back like over $6,000 total.
What? Holy
Yeah.
fuck!
So the earned income credit is huge. It's huge.
How the fuck did it end up at
and what-
3K?
Well, my mom explained to me what the earned income credit is. And it was designed for, you can only get it if you work and you have a child. And it's designed for people like us who fall through the cracks because we do work. So we don't get assistance. So they're like, at the end of the year, they're like, here's X amount of money to help get you through because you don't qualify for these programs, but you also don't make this amount of money. So here's X amount of money
Well,
to
that's
help you out.
and
That was pretty cool.
well. That explanation is what they gave to or what you've come to learn. That people at the end of the year just think it's a fucking big old check.
Yeah,
Buy
but
6
you have
TVs.
to work to get it though. You
Right.
have to work X amount of weeks out of the year to get it.
That's rough, man. All that shit's rough. Haley said a lot. Let's read it. Take that back. We do have insurance. My kids have free insurance, and mine is cheap insurance to the state. I listen. There's one thing that I think about the welfare-ish system, or whatever you want to call it. If you don't want to call it that, because it has a bad connotation with it, or people have given it that, whatever. But I think that the insurance thing is pretty okay. Now, of course, there's things in insurance that are flawed and messed up, but
I think it comes down to personal things.
Hey, yeah, I agree with that. Haley should have free insurance. And you know what? If she didn't, I would advocate for her to have it, and I would be totally fine with having a very small percentage of my paycheck going to people like Haley that have,
Xander, my son has insurance. Alana does not. Alana got insurance while she was pregnant, and 6 months after Xander was born, she also had insurance, and the insurance stopped. But Xander is still covered because we don't make enough. I think insurance, Medicaid is great. It's the best insurance you can get to a degree.
It is.
But I think those that are on it, having been on it and now being on the paying side, should be. People are very careless when they have insurance. They go to the ER for anything.
Right.
I stub my toe. I'm not saying all people. I'm saying this is what I've seen. Working in a rehab with clients who are all on insurance, Medicaid, I see a lot of I stub my toe. My tooth hurt. Take me to the ER. Blah blah blah. Take me to the ER. Blah blah. Take me to the ER. And so that's just money barreling out of our pockets going into these.
We've got family members that are like that, dude. It's crazy.
And I'm like, and I wouldn't know it if I hadn't been on both sides.
Right. My pride gets me. I don't like handouts, but not everyone's like that. Some are like, give me, they'll drain it dry. Of course, opportunists again, and they're there to get what they can take and dilute the idea of welfare, just to dilute it. That's what will end up happening because of those people, and it's what's happened. People have like I said, welfare, and I even personally thought I should explain that, if you have a bad connotation because of that, but people have given it that
that's
meaning.
what it's called. It's called social welfare is what
Right.
it's called.
Right.
it's been given a negative connotation because it's talked about maliciously from the right.
Right.
Right? But when welfare was like when you look at the history of social welfare and social programs, it has grassroots in very Christian people going out and being like, "Hey, this is how you should be spending your money." Or this like it was people who would go to your homes and tell you what you're doing wrong and how you can be better. And then it started like, okay, well, we're going to give you a little bit of money here, and like I'm summarizing years and years and years and years of things, and it became more and more about, hey, let's spend more money, let's spend more money, let's spend more money.
Right.
And
it's let's take care of these people, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I don't really feel like that's the underlying like the reason they're promoting welfare. I really think that it keeps a lot of money in the government's pockets, so it's easier to offer all these incentives to make less money and then get you hooked on that.
well, and I think that's where where I'm attracted to a lot of the conservative talking points about when you look at the numbers. I mean, it's just this facts speak for themselves. When you look, so during my first introduction to social work class, you learn that like, so there's 5 quintiles of income, and that like, okay, so if you don't graduate high school, you have a very high percentage of not getting out of that bottom quintile if you were born there. And people who have parents who are married have a greater chance of graduating high school, and so on, and many points like this. And there are a lot of the conservative talking points, and that the nuclear family, graduating high school, not doing drugs, just like all these conservative values. I mean, that's what they are. And that's one of the biggest conservative talking points is, you see it all the time.
It's Ben Shapiro's platform, dude.
Family.
It's Ben Shapiro's like
Candace Owens. I mean, any of them. I mean, but they're speaking the truth. You want to talk about how to fix a lot of our welfare problems in America? The numbers show that if you have married households and you go to school and you graduate high school, that's like the recipe, man. And your kids are more likely to graduate high school.
And Ben Shapiro, one very notable bullet point in that too is to not have kids until after you're married. That's like one of his. That's one of his, and he says that because there's factual backing to that, not because not because he's like, I am religious and you should get married and then have sex.
I'll tell you what, Ben Shapiro is highly annoying. I'll agree with that. If you just watch any old random video of his, he panders to his base. I challenge you, if you don't agree with Ben Shapiro and you don't like Ben Shapiro, please go listen to his podcast with Joe Rogan.
Yeah, the most recent one, and there's two. The last one was what got me hooked on Joe Rogan.
Total.
Oh,
there's 3 now.
I didn't even know that. I almost don't.
I haven't listened to the new one.
I'm such a Joe Rogan like hardcore boner fest man that I almost don't even believe you, Alex.
There's 3 total. Yeah, because I got Ben Shapiro's what got me into Joe Rogan.
Wow. Okay, same. I mean, I guess that's kind of how that is too, because that podcast is the first Joe Rogan podcast I watched in full, and I was like, "What in the fuck is this? Wow, this liberal."
Batman on Batman got me into podcasts. Kevin Smith's podcast dedicated solely to talking about Batman was the first podcast I really got into, and then I found some wacky ass video by Adam Carolla or something, and then I stumbled on an Adam Carolla on the air with
he's crazy. His podcast is nuts.
I mean, he's the father of podcasts. He started the shit. Yeah. He's like, he's the father of podcasting. And so I saw him on Joe Rogan, and then from that I went to it rolled over to Ben Shapiro on Joe Rogan, and that's how I got into Joe Rogan, and I've been listening to podcasts on Joe Rogan ever since.
Listen, we're 2 hours and 26 minutes in. Let's kind of close this, but with one little question, okay? Are there any podcasts that you listen to that are kind of like something we haven't spoken about, or like, is there any that you listen to often, maybe even? I've got one that you'll be like, whoa, that's cool. I think you will, at least.
I'll be honest, I don't listen to a whole lot of podcasts. I listen to Joe Rogan a lot. Because he has such a wide array of people on there.
Right.
You never know what. Like I listen to I listened to him with James Hetfield, the lead singer of Metallica,
Yeah.
and they talked about beekeeping the whole time.
Right. Hey,
Uh,
just to real quick drop this notable thing. I feel like you'd be really interested in this. Joe Rogan recently talked with two guys from the Innocence Project, and they had a very lengthy discussion about wrongful convictions and how the justice system is a little bit fucked up when it comes to that stuff. Dude, it's a fucking good one. And Joe Rogan is motivated to like get the word out on them too, because they've done a lot of good for society, really, to be honest. People falsely held accountable needs to be corrected as much as we possibly can to help keep trust in that. Regardless, because a lot of us don't have trust in the justice system, but they're trying to make it to where they're holding them accountable, and I really like that shit. So that's a good one to listen. That's a good episode of Joe Rogan's to listen to. That I feel like you'd be really interested in.
that may be the only true podcast I listen to, other than like the Kevin Smith Fat Man on Batman.
Right.
Other than that, I mean, it's mostly conservative stuff.
You dabble ever just like go randomly listen to a random thing or anything like that?
Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder.
Mhm.
I watch a lot of videos from Turning Point USA. I watch a lot of. I'll tell you one I really like, and it's hard to disagree with the facts they bring up. I don't care where you sit. Is Prager University. You watch the PragerU videos because they get people from. They're talking about a subject. They're going to get an expert in that subject, and they're going to go well-rounded video in like 5 minutes or less.
I like their infographics. I think those infographic videos they do are great. They're awesome.
As far as left stuff goes, I read more left articles, but I get more my right stuff from videos. But I read more left articles, and I've actually started just now. Like, hey, I've consumed too much right-wing propaganda. I need to look at some left-wing stuff.
Well, if I were to sit and look at what I do with what content I take in, I'm not trying to like signal here, but I really do both. The other day, and I want to bring this up, and then I want to tell you about, or not tell you about it, but just mention the podcast that I've been talking about. Yesterday, I went through and I thought about, and I had a whole thought on a meme that someone spread that I've seen a lot that claims that President Trump is the martyr for child trafficking. He's just out here just doing it because
I've seen that shit so many times.
It's a consistent talking point. Like, what the fuck? You hate all government and you think they're all pedophiles, but Trump's the martyr. You know, the guy that actually has allegations on him, accusations, sexual harassment allegations on him, which those are allegations.
Like almost like a QAnon video.
Well, this one wasn't a video, but I mean, I've seen videos claiming that. Like where he's fucking getting off the plane and it's got like a sad song and he's like walking.
Yeah, it's like a 5-minute video about like the deep state and shit.
Jesus
I saw that
Christ,
the other night.
dude. If you share that shit, please fight your own ignorance on that, please.
Well, I saw one that was like it took forever. It was like talking about the deep state and all this and what their plan was and how they're implementing it. And then you're just riled, you're willed into it.
Hey,
and the
it
last
sounds all
minute of the
good.
video was like, and then along came Trump.
So
I was like, oh no, they got me.
right. So what I did is I posted the meme. I'm gonna bring it up on video right now. I posted the meme. The first president to ever fight child sex trafficking. If that doesn't earn your vote, nothing will. Okay. So I said, I'm not posting this out of malice. I'm posting to learn myself and have others research with me. No one did. What has President Trump done to fight child sex trafficking?
I saw that post. Yeah.
Did you see me thinking it out? So I posted 3 things, whitehouse.gov shit that had to do with what he has done, and I summarized each. I'm not going to sit here and read into them. If you would like to read into it, I'll make this post public literally right now. So there it is. It's public. So if you want to read into it, search Tyler Adams on Facebook. It's a picture of me and my wife. I've got a Lysol can in my hand, lol. Go and look this. It'll be the most recent post. Look at it. I posted one thing. I summarized. I posted another thing. Summarized. Posted another thing and summarized. Okay? And that was what President Trump has done to help solve child sex trafficking. But then what I did is I went and I looked for our last administration, the last one that was in the White House, to see what they did. Pretty similar stuff, to be honest with you. Then
A
I'll,
lot of it seemed to be like putting funds toward different things.
right, like kind of setting the standards, like, you know, like getting shit going. So ultimately, it's false that President Trump is the first ever president to do it. That was the ignorance that I fought with that meme. But it's also very notable to note that it's not like I brought up Obama here, and I feel like I had to bring in a very important clause of this, which is that in July 2015, the U.S. Department of Justice indicted a ring of traffickers led by a certain person, and they did find out that Obama that they did request children to be able to foster them, and then they actually trafficked them. So that's a very notable point that has to be brought up when I feel like when we talk about this, just because
that was more of a oopsie whoopsie doopsie.
Yeah, it's definitely a mistake. Definitely a mistake, and it's not like I can see how that would happen or that makes it okay. But
yeah, not a lightweight mistake, but it wasn't a malicious.
Right.
Hey, let's
It
sell
wasn't-
these
yeah.
traffickers.
hey, but you know
It was
what's
like, hey,
happening.
I got 1,500 kids. I don't know where to go, and someone's going, "We'll take them. Don't you worry."
And they
about it.
vetted the shit
Here's
out
your
of them.
credentials. Don't look too deep into it.
And it was just they frauded them and they got them, and that's very fucking tragic and obviously terrible. But it wasn't like Obama did it on purpose. But by God, if you had a Trump supporter tell you about it, they'd tell you different. He's in it with Ellen and Oprah. Obama is. You know
Well,
that?
they were sacrificing those kids to Moloch.
Yeah, man. Duh. Hillary Clinton told it. You know, Hillary Clinton had to tell everybody about that. You're exactly right.
Frazzle drip.
Fuck, man. Look, like, I have to stop with this shit. I have to get off of it because I'm just diving deeper and deeper. I think I've come to the conclusion of what happens with these things now. And that's why I keep bringing it up. So again, sorry, dude. I'm not making this I'm not gonna make this a headline on this episode.
Though it makes sense. Look, shit is so crazy in the world. It's so more divided than ever. That's been proven time and time again. It's more divided than ever. Shit's coming at us quicker than ever. It's a new big ass thing every day. Like 2020 feels like we're getting close to Armageddon.
Yeah.
So of course people are gonna find this crazy thing where it's like, all like it's coming to where it looks like it's coming to a head, and like they're really like they're sacrificing these kids to ancient deities,
Satan,
and like
yeah.
the world's going to end soon. It makes sense that people are grasping for something like that because
Right.
it has to make sense. It feels
Yes.
like it's becoming a spearhead. It makes sense.
Shared an
People are-
article that embodied exactly what you're saying. People feel like they have to attach to something, and whenever there's an uncertainty involved in government, they're definitely more willing to attach to something that has to do with complexity and corruption in government.
Well, just like Haley was talking about earlier, we were talking about earlier, like the world is so chaotic and there's so much going on so quick that we can't wrap our mind around all of it,
Yeah.
or even some of it partially. So instead of being like, well, you know what, there's just not enough time in the day for one person to know everything, it's easier to go, you know what, it's a giant conspiracy. They don't want me to know everything. Everything's tied together, and it's all spearheading and culminating into this one evil act.
Yep.
Because we've consumed so many movies, and we have to know. There has to be the man behind the curtain.
Yep.
It just makes sense.
Gotta have somebody to
want
blame.
to grasp at something. Look, the elites, the man, they're all together and they're all killing fucking kids because what else lowly act? What's the worst act you can get to? Killing kids. You involve kids.
The
it's
pillar of
worst act.
innocence. They're the pillar of innocence.
Right. So like everyone agrees that that's pretty much the worst thing you can possibly do. And so it's the most evil thing. So it's the most evil people. And that's why the world is bad. And they're trying to, everything that comes out, everything going on in the real world is just a distraction.
Right.
Everything's just, it's all deep state distraction to distract you from the end of the world that's coming. And we all just need to open our eyes, and we don't have to pay attention to any of this anymore because we just have to focus on the evil man killing kids.
Right.
And that's not to take away from travesties happening to kids.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying.
Because it's very
Because
true
they're
that
all-
it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, there are travesties happening to kids all over the world every day. But guess what? It's been going on. It's
Yeah.
not because people are sacrificing the kids to Moloch and a Cthulhu's coming.
Yeah, and it's not like Hillary Clinton was, Secretary of State, and while she was there, she just whipped it on up with all the kids. That's
If you're getting your information about the end of the world from a Justin Bieber music video, guess what, buddy?
lol. My God. All right. listen. I think I need to come to an end on that thing. Like I said, I've discovered that people fight for a cause. The opportunists draw the line. Everybody focuses on the separate sides of the line, and then the cause gets lost, and it's really sad. It frustrates me, but I can't control people's thoughts. So like all I do ever on this stuff is just throw out facts. I think I really have to reel it back in though, because I feel like a lot of people are just taking it as me just calling them stupid. And while that's not what I'm doing, I do it for me. I do it so I can think about stuff, and so other people can see it too. And there are a lot of people. There are a lot more people that see my stuff and think on it.
I feel like people just don't understand why. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like when you pop up to go against, like, no one wants to argue with anyone who's sharing something about children going missing. So if you naysay that, you just appear to be like, of all the things going on in the world, why would you argue about this?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think they just take it weirdly.
I just think that it's very important that when we argue about this, that we need to be truthful in it, because I feel like certain periods of time in my life that I have certain mindsets, I can kind of give a phrase, and my phrase for right now is that the pursuit of truth, not bound by fact, is just constant danger. It's just dangerous. Just
Ooh, where'd that come from? I like that.
I made that up. I really did. Like that's what I've seen. That's what I'm seeing. Like people are being dangerous in their lack of perceiving the truth as someone else tells it as fact, just because they're talking about things that you may not really believe in, and that's just what you can't do that. Your truth is not bound by fact. Your truth is bound by your beliefs. And while that's still important, my truth is a lot more bound by fact, because that's just how my brain has to work.
That my truth shit. There's the truth.
Right,
never
exactly.
understood.
Exactly.
I'm living my truth. Live your truth, sister. Like
Right.
there's just a fucking truth. That's it.
And the real way I should have worded that is your truth is bound, and I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about other people that believe this way, but your truth is bound by your beliefs. The truth is bound by fact. That's just how it is. I'm just out here. It's not like I'm out here with alpha woke, dude, but I
wasn't trying to show what you were saying. I hate that
feel
my
what you're
truth
saying.
shit.
No, you made a good point, and their truth is what their beliefs are. The truth is what is bound by fact, and that's just
Facts don't care about your feelings.
dude. Hey. So when I was thinking about how to say what, in the pursuit of truth, if it's not bound by fact, then it's dangerous. That's what I was like wanting to avoid saying. I want to be like, well, facts don't care about your fucking feelings, but instead I've translated into, well, in the pursuit of truth, if it's not bound by
It
fact,
has such a negative connotation. It comes off as combative. Facts don't care about your feelings, motherfucker.
Okay.
Which we're like, hey man, look,
that's Shapiro's fault.
recognize your feelings when you're looking for fact.
Ben Shapiro says that militantly, so I understand. Whoa, wow.
Well, yeah, it's just, he didn't say it originally. I mean, originally he said it. He's like, well, facts don't care about your feelings.
Right.
But it's become such a fucking rallying cry from the right. I've said it more times than probably anybody.
I mean, it's fucking true, but like, I don't know.
It's been overplayed now.
Yeah.
That dollar's been spent.
Right. And now when people hear it, they just get upset. They think
They just tune you out.
it's
Yeah,
literally
righty.
snowflake. It's literally the word snowflake in a phrase.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. All right, we good? You done? You got anything else, bro?
As always, if you find anything we talked about that you have input on, please reach out to me. If I was wrong about something and you have the corrections for me, please reach out to me. And beyond that, keep fighting the good fight.
Thank you guys for listening to episode 9 of Fighting Ignorance. Right now, we're live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. You can catch us regularly on Wednesdays at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can catch all the podcasts. If you want to watch the podcast, like the video, you can check that out on YouTube. But you can listen to all the podcasts on any podcast platform that you can name. Spotify, Pandora, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. And we really appreciate everybody in the comments. Let's go up and thank everybody. Haley Stevens, thanks for coming.
Josh Morgan, the Token Genius.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you.
I saw him come by here, and thanks, Josh, for dropping by. That's
Jordan
cool.
Wayne Lowe. Thank you.
Yeah, and of course, Jordan, thanks for you. Turkey, thanks for
And-
always coming by and saying Tulsi ate that ass. I'm sorry that I had said that just now, but whatever. He said that. Tulsi ate that ass. I think he was talking about Kamala Harris.
talking about owning Kamala on the stage.
Yeah.
But I would eat Tulsi's. But...
Okay. Do I need to beep that out?
Fuck no.
All right. Thank you guys for listening to episode 9. And fight the good fight.